This is the story of a poor little girl named Lyrica, who lives in the slums with her beautiful but broken mother. Once a noblewoman, her mother now spends every night drunk, blaming her daughter and the past for the miserable life they live. While her mother drowns in alcohol and regret, Lyrica works tirelessly just to survive. She cleans, runs errands, and saves every coin she can, dreaming of the day her mother might finally smile again. One day, her mother told her something while hiccuping drunkenly. "If only it weren't for you," she muttered bitterly. "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be living like this. I used to be a noblewoman." Her voice shook as another hiccup escaped her. "If only your father hadn't fallen into so much debt and sailed across the seas. If he had come back, at least we wouldn't have been chased out of our lands." She suddenly waved her hand as if dismissing her own words. No, forget it." She took another long drink. "Instead of living in these slums, I could have remarried and started a new life, if it weren't for you." Lyrica trembles at first upon hearing that, but she smiles and answers, "You're right, that's what I think too, Mother. My mother is the most beautiful woman in the world. Her blonde hair flows like rays of sunlight, and her eyes are blue like cornflowers. Her exquisite features and milky skin make her look like an angelic fairy wherever she goes. My mother is my pride and joy. Even though we are living in the slums now, we are actually of noble birth. She is the only person I know who can read. She's truly incredible. She's only like this because life is too unbearable for her right now. When she gets too drunk to walk home by herself, she leans on me. Every night she grows angry at me, and she spends all the money I earn on alcohol. But all of that will change when Father returns. In her imagination, she can see it clearly. My love! My daughter! I'm home! Father calls out warmly. Look at all the money I made! He laughs and lifts her up. My little sweetheart, did you miss me? We'll all live together now. Father! She cries happily. Now we're rich! But then she gasps and shakes her head, snapping back to reality. I got distracted. I have to get back to work. Right now, I'm working, she resolves, until the day I see Mother smiling again. I'm going to take care of her. Good work, Lyrica, the shopkeeper says kindly. Thanks for working so hard and not stealing anything. A coin clinks into her hand as he adds, keep up the good work. She trembles slightly from exhaustion but bows politely. Hard work builds character. I'm happy to be of service. Oh, what a smart kid, the shopkeeper remarks. I wish my kid was half as smart as you. Thank you, she replied brightly. She thinks in her mind. Work builds character. I learned that from a shoe shiner once. I always take that to heart and apply it to everything I do, and it's been quite helpful. After work, she passes by in front of a bakery. She saw fresh bread has just come out of the oven, and the smell is amazing. She exclaims, the loaves look so soft, warm, and delicious. Ah, if only I could take them all home and stuff my face. She imagined the bread calling out to her, eat me, eat me. She thinks, I wish I could have as much bread as I want at least once in my life. With the large bronze coin I earned today, I could buy a whole loaf. But then she remembers something. Last month the landlord came barging in. Your rent is overdue, you. How long are you going to keep mooching off of me? The landlord shouts angrily at her mother. She replies, I have no money to give to a scoundrel like you, so get lost. The landlord gets angry. What did you say, you little? He throws a punch. Lyrica shouts, Mother, no! She gets in between and went flying to the wall. Blood started dripping from her nose. How dare you hit my little girl? Her mother screams furiously. I should call the authorities. What? The man stammers. She closes her eyes and pretends she can't hear any of it. She thinks, if you play music in your head, you can't hear bad words. In her imagination, musical notes float all around her. She tells herself, let's all speak kindly to one another. Back to present, she thinks, no, we have to pay the rent this month. She say quietly to the baker, I'll take half a loaf, please. Later, she return home and gently push open the door. She calls out, I'm home. The door creaks softly. She saw, Mother is asleep. Good. Tiptoeing across the room, she quietly opened my secret hiding place. How are you, my secret stash? She whispered happily. How have you been, my silver coin? Carefully, she hid the coin she earned today with the others so her mother won't find it. She thinks in her mind, being hopeful, someday, I'm going to buy a chicken with this silver coin, and it will lay eggs. When the chicks grow into chickens, I'll buy a ram. After that, I'll buy a cow, and then a horse. Oh my! I'll be rich! She giggled quietly to herself. Eehee! Suddenly, her mother flinches. While sleeping, she gasps and turns. In her sleep, she saw a dream of being burned alive, while she screams in agony. Then we heard sound of a clock ticking and gears turning. Just then her mother opens her eyes with a flash. Ha! Her mother screamed suddenly. No, no, I'm burning! Lyrica jolts, and turns to her flailing and thrashing wildly as if she were caught in flames. No, no! Her terrified shriek filled the room. Help me! Mother! Lyrica rushed toward her in panic. Are you all right? Her mother fell from the bed down. As Lyrica reaches out to her, she grabs her hand and gasps. She gasped for air, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Lyrica looks at her mother and thinks. Her eyes have completely lost focus. A chill ran down her spine as she remembered the warning someone once gave her. Make sure your mother doesn't drink too much. If she does, it will go to her head, and her life will truly be over. No, it can't be, she whispered in horror. Mother! She embraces her mother, crying, Mother! Her mother gasps while asking, Where am I? She saw horror in her mother's eyes. Her gaze landed on her. Lyrica! Yes, Mother! It's me, Lyrica. Can you recognize me? She asked anxiously. We're at home right now. Do you remember? You're alive, her mother interrupted softly. You're alive. You're younger now. No, wait. Lyrica gets confused. Huh? Lyrica, her mother asked urgently, grabbing her shoulders. How old are you right now? She replies. I'm 8 years old, she cried out. That's impossible. Her heart dropped. Mother's mind has broken. Her mother staggers while walking towards the window. What is happening? She muttered to herself, looking outside. This can't be. We live in the slums? Impossible. This is, my God! No, Mother is fine, Lyrica quickly said to herself, trying to stay calm. She just had a bad dream. Her mother again said, Oh my God. Lyrica thinks. She's too upset right now. She might hit me if I go near her. I should wait until she calms down. Then her mother turns and rushes to her. Lyrica backs away fearing. Mother, you're upset, so please. Before she could finish, her mother lifts up her hand. Lyrica imagines the landlord who punched her and in fear closes her eyes. She's gonna hit me. She flinched instinctively. But her mother caresses her. Lyrica, my precious Lyrica! She glances at her mother. Tears were dripping from her eyes. Her mother says, I can't believe you're really alive. Then, to my complete shock, she pulled me into a tight embrace. Lyrica froze in confusion as she held her close, trembling. She whispered, her voice shaking. You've come back to me! Lyrica wonders. Mother! Her whole body quivered as tears streamed down her face. Her mother sobbed. Mommy is so sorry! Lyrica thinks in shock. What's gotten into Mother? It's all my fault, her mother cried. I was a fool. Mommy was too stupid to know how precious you are. Lyrica thinks, there's no way Mother would ever say something like this to me. She wonders, is this a dream? Her mother says through her tears, I love you, Lyrica. Lyrica was still confused. Huh! Her mother hugs her. Lyrica, my treasure. Lyrica thinks, no, this couldn't be real. If this turned out to be a dream, it would hurt even more when I woke up. Her mother wails. My precious baby, my Lyrica. Lyrica concludes, yes, it had to be a dream. But as she looks at her mother crying, she wonders. A dream. Her mother quivers and trembles while crying. Lyrica wonders. Huh? As she realizes that this is not a dream, she stammers. Tears also came to her eyes. She wails. Mother? She said urgently. Yes. Yes, Lyrica. Lyrica questions herself, crying. Is this real? My beloved child, her mother whispered, pressing kisses against her face. I love you. I love you. Lyrica thinks, is this really happening? Her mother repeated again and again. I love you. She kept hugging and kissing her, whispering those words over and over. I love you. I love you. I love you. And for the first time in her life, Lyrica realized something. I had never known how good it felt to be in my mother's arms. Later they woke up rubbing their eyes and giggling to each other. But even then, a small fear crept into her heart. What if Mother suddenly changes back again? What if she goes back to her usual self? Lyrica, her mother said suddenly. What day is it today? She stammers. It's April 15th, in the year 485. Her mother's eyes widened. She says, the Imperial Ball. She grabbed her hand tightly. Rika, she said with determination. I must go to the ball and meet the Emperor at all costs. Confused Lyrica asks. What? Let's pause for a moment. On a universal scale, this is the size of Lyrica and her mother, nothing more than a tiny speck of dust. The landlord who intimidates them every month is only slightly bigger than that speck. The upper middle class is bigger still. A noble stands far above them, towering in comparison, and the high-ranking nobles are even larger than that. But the greatest and highest being of them all is someone so powerful that Lyrica and her mother are nothing more than dust beneath his notice. That being is the Emperor. So I must get ready today and attend the ball tomorrow, her mother said firmly. Today is my only chance, Lyrica cried out. But that's nonsense. She trembles as her mother looks at her in shock. She wails, I was wrong to think mother had changed. She questions, how are you going to attend the imperial ball, mother? They'll turn you away at the entrance. And what if the Emperor tries to eat your heart? Rumors said that the Emperor froze people he disliked solid and killed them. She wonders, mother isn't in her right mind. What do I do? There's bound to be a way for me to get in, she insisted as she stood up. Of course, I can't go dressed like this. I'll have to borrow a suitable dress from the pawn shop. Once I do that, I'll know what to do next. Then she looked at her carefully. So I was wondering, Rika. Lyrica shudders and back away. I don't have any money. Her mother looks at her and says, Rika, please, won't you trust mommy just this once? She hesitated and closes her eyes, trembling. She covers her ears and says, I can't hear you. She resolves, you mustn't give her the money, Lyrica Vans, she told herself desperately. Mother has no idea what she's talking about. There's no way she'll get into the ball. And that money is for this month's rent that I'll have to pay soon. I don't want the landlord to hit me again. Her mother stares quietly, then says, All right, Rika, it's fine if you don't want to. But please remember this. She looked at her with an expression she had never seen before. I'm going to do my best for you, Rika. Of course, I know you can be happy without these things, but this is just what I want for you. Lyrica wondered. These things? Her mother says. I just want you to know that I'll do my best for you in my own way. Understand? Lyrica nods. Then she smiled faintly and pulls Lyrica in her embrace. All right then. Let's go to bed early tonight. But Lyrica quickly gets up and went to the table. She brought the bread to her mother and says, Mother, have some of this. I've already eaten, so I'm fine. Her mother looks at her. Lyrica looks bony and gaunt. Her mother puts a piece of bread in her mouth and says, Then let's eat it together anyway. So Lyrica thinks, even if mother said strange things, it doesn't matter. She has changed so much, and she's made me so happy. She fell asleep in her mother's embrace. The next day, she continued working. Someone asked, Are you sure you should be giving work to a kid from the slums? Another person replied, There's no one better than her. She was scrubbing and wiping the glasses. Earlier when she woke up, her mother was gone. She called, Mother? There was no answer. She rubbed her eyes wondering, where did she go? The room was empty. Her heart dropped. She went to her secret stash calling Mother, Mother. But everything was gone. Let's go to bed early tonight, she had said. My money. My silver coin! Just then someone nearby shouted as I stumbled. Hey, you better be careful. That's something you could never afford, she stammered. I'm sorry. Tears filled her eyes. My silver coins, my chicks, my chicken, my goat, my cow, and my horse. All the dreams she had built with those coins were gone. Goodbye. She cried, Mother, how could you? That was the first time she ever resented her mother. With no money left, she had to keep working without rest. That day she didn't even want to go home anymore, so she wandered the streets instead. She plopped down at a corner. She slumped to the ground and thinks, Once, I used to imagine father returning. My love, my daughter, I'm home. Look at all the money I made. But now, I won't be able to even look forward to seeing father again like I used to. As she sat there, exhausted, she heard someone's steps approaching. Looking at the person's boots, she thinks, What's this? Those look like expensive boots. Why are they coming this way? She prayed silently, Please go away and leave me alone. The footsteps stopped in front of me. Are you Miss Lyrica Vans? She looked up in shock. Well, the man said politely, reaching out his hand. I've come to escort you to the palace. And at that moment, she had no idea that her fate would completely change that day. She recalled it wasn't the first time she had met a wealthy-looking man. Once while walking, a man called, "Hey girl!" He throws a coin to her. "Take this and get yourself a nice meal." She realized the man standing in front of her now looked even wealthier than that gentleman. "You weren't at home," he said calmly, "so I've been looking all over for you." "What?" She stared at him in shock. Who are you?" She thinks, just by looking at him, I can tell he is different. His clothing is fine and elegant, and his posture is perfectly upright. He looked like someone who had never needed to bow down to anyone in his life. "Wait," she said anxiously. "Is mother in trouble?" "No," the man replied. "Your mother asked me to bring you to her, Miss Lyrica. You should let her explain everything herself. I'm only here as a messenger." He glanced around cautiously. "We should get moving before somebody sees us." She crossed her arms stubbornly. "I was taught never to follow strangers." "Oh, in that case," he said. "My name is Wolf. We're not strangers anymore, right?" She shot back. "Yeah, right," he sighed. "I guess that didn't work." Then his expression turned serious. "To be honest, your mother is in critical condition, Miss Lyrica." Her heart dropped. "What?" he adds. "She was in an accident and asked me to bring you to her. She's desperately waiting for you." In her mind, she could almost hear mother calling out to her. "Lyrica, if only I can see you again, before the last leaf falls." She gasped. "Oh no! Mother!" She rushes away while Lauv leads the way. While in her mind she thinks, was mother in an accident? Did she get hurt while trying to force her way into the Imperial Ball? "This way," the man said, leading me forward. But I had prayed for her safety and well-being. We had even managed to survive in the slums without too much hardship. How could something like this happen? The door creaked as she approached. "Mother, I'm coming!" she cried, rushing forward. "Your little girl Lyrica is coming for you." She hops on the carriage as Lauv gently pushes her. The door slammed shut. She shouted, "We must leave at once!" But before she could react, he knocked sharply on the door. "Miss Lyrica," he said calmly, "you really shouldn't be so gullible." "Excuse me." She blinked in confusion. As the carriage was moving, she says, "But you said mother was hurt." "No," he replied casually. "Your mother is fine and healthy." She remains silent. He calls out, "Miss Lyrica?" Slowly she began. She cursed him non-stop. His ears bleed. When the carriage stopped, his eardrums were already burnt. As the door opened, she was trembling but ready to attack. She bared her teeth like a cornered animal. Lauv thinks, "We have to go, but if I try to get her out by force, she might try to claw at me. It's fine if she claws at me, but if she hurts herself from being too weak." "Liar! Kidnapper!" she shouted angrily. "Get away from me!" Seeing her, he thinks she looks like a kitten. She yells, "If you lay a finger on me!" But she paused, glancing around. She looks around and saw the Grand's palace. She thinks, "This doesn't look like the scene of a kidnapping. This is the Imperial Villa," he explained. "It's a small palace connected to the Imperial Palace. Now, are you ready to get out?" As she reaches out, she hisses. Just then someone called out, "Lyrica?" She froze. She gets down from the carriage and saw her mother in a wonderful dress. "Mother!" her mother replies. "Lyrica!" She ran straight into her arms. "Mother!" She hugged her tightly. "I'm sorry, Rika. Were you worried about me?" She sobbed. I'm really mad at you this time." "I know," she said softly. "I shouldn't have done that. It's all my fault," she whines. "Humph, but I couldn't think of any other way," she admitted. "Will you forgive me?" She kissed her forehead gently. "Okay," Lyrica sniffled. "But I still don't know what all of this is about." "Then let's go inside," her mother said with a smile. "I'll explain everything." She turns to Lauv. "Thank you for bringing my daughter," he replied politely. "Don't mention it, Lady Lydia." Lyrica also waved at him. As Lauv bowed, Lyrica thinks to herself in shock. "That grown man just bowed to me." Her mother asks, "What's wrong?" As she was wiping her, Lyrica asks, "Are you sure we're allowed to be here in a place this incredible?" Her mother replies, "Yes, don't worry." She wonders, really, what in the world had happened to mother? "You see," her mother said calmly, "Mommy attended the Imperial Ball." Lyrica asks, "Really?" Her mother replies, "Yes, really. And that's where I met the Emperor." "Why, you met the Emperor?" she gasped. "But," according to the rumors I had heard, high nobles were born with special powers, but the Emperor was something even more terrifying. People said he ate the hearts of children and froze anyone he disliked to death. So be careful, Unless you want to get your heart eaten. Her mother giggled softly. It'll be all right, she said. His Majesty is a reasonable man. Lyrica wonders. Really? Does being reasonable have anything to do with being terrifying? Her mother gently puts shoes on her feet. How soft, she murmured. Lyrica exclaims, they're as soft as delicate petals. Then they went to another room, where her mother smears jam on a bread and shoves it to her mouth. As she was gulping down a drink, her mother smiles. She says, So, Mommy is going to marry His Majesty in 2 days. Hearing that, Lyrica blurts out the drink in shock. Lyrica stammered in disbelief. You're going to marry His Majesty? Her mother replied calmly. Yes, but it's not going to be a normal marriage. She leaned closer to her and whispered, Rika, I'm going to tell you a little secret. After 2 days, there was a grand marriage held at the palace. People were applauding and cheering as they put rings on each other's finger. The emperor glances at her, so she trembles. Her mother told her, The truth is, this is a contract marriage. Wow. She looked around nervously. Look at all these people. They're all looking at us, right? She wonders. Mother, do you think I'll be able to do this? Before, as her mother told her, this is a contract marriage. She questions, what would a contract marriage equal? She ponders, a contract mean you have work to do. Almost immediately, she regained her composure. Ah, her mother laughed softly. I thought you'd be more surprised, Rika. I was plenty surprised, she said seriously. I'm almost dying of shock. Her heart was pounding wildly. Her mind raced, but once I thought about it, it started to make sense. There was no way Mother could have met the Emperor, fallen in love, and married him so soon. Now that I know it's a contract marriage, I actually feel a little better. After all, back in the slums, I have learned one important rule: work is the best way to build credit. If this is a contract, then it simply means Mother has a job to do. I'm sure it's not that simple, but that's not a bad way to think about it either. Still, I can't believe Mother is really going to marry the Emperor. She glances at her mother thinking, does that mean she'll be the Empress? Noticing that her mother beams, Lyrica thinks she's so incredibly beautiful, but I still remember how things used to be. She remembers her mother would shout drunkenly, laughing loudly. Be that as it may, a deal is a deal, and a contract is a contract. Then Lyrica picks up her drink and says, I have to do something to help Mother do her job. She asks, then, what's going to happen to me? Oh, her mother said casually. His Majesty is going to adopt you as his daughter. So, in 2 days, Lyrica, you're going to become a princess. A princess? Her mind went blank for a moment. A princess. She laughs, imagining herself. That's not going to be like that. Then she understood. So that means I'm a contract princess. She wonders, what's the job of a princess? She asks her mother. How long will the contract last? About 8 years, her mother replied. Until the crown prince comes of age and becomes the emperor. You know the story, right, Rika? The current emperor was only sitting on the throne temporarily. Once his nephew, the crown prince, became old enough to rule, the throne was supposed to return to him. The complicated history of the imperial family was something everyone knew, and no one really believed the emperor would give the throne back. The throne. Lyrica thinks in her mind, but 8 years is a long time. I'll be all grown up by then. After that, her mother said warmly, we can live together in a pretty house in a quiet place not too far from the capital. We'll even have a little garden. Really? Lyrica asked excitedly. Our very own house? With a pretty little garden? Will we really be able to have all that? Of course, Mother laughed. We'll even be able to travel wherever we want. You wouldn't believe the size of the bonus I'll get. But then her expression turned serious. However, you mustn't tell anyone about this. She clasped her hands tightly. This must remain an absolute secret. No one must know about this. Don't worry, Lyrica said firmly. I won't tell a soul, even if it kills me. Hearing that, her mother went in shock. She quickly embraces her and says, I know, Rika, I know you won't. Lyrica thinks she must be scared about taking on such a huge task, so she tried to comfort her the only way she could. Mother, she said gently, it's going to be okay. You have me. She patted her softly, trying to be reassuring. Don't worry, Mother, she promised. I'll keep protecting you. At least, that was the promise she made. But when the preparations began, everything felt overwhelming. She didn't even know where to look. Her legs were shaking. She staggers, but her mother grabs her and winks at her, so she smiles. As people get to know that the wedding is in 2 days, Some girls cheered excitedly. I heard His Majesty's order has turned the entire palace upside down. Others squealed, oh my God. Another person said with a chuckle, preparing a wedding in just 3 days for an empress from the slums is incredibly hasty. One said, no wonder they're holding the ceremony without guests. Someone added, luckily, many nobles were already in the capital for the spring ball. One maid says, they were in such a rush that they tailored an existing dress instead of making a new one. Another asked in surprise, that's the dress? One noble remarks while sipping tea, I had never seen a dress like it before. The back was so inflated and extravagant that I didn't know what to think. It's vulgar. One maid says, I thought it was magnificent. People in the slums wondered, does that mean Lyrica is a princess now? They held the adoption ceremony the day after the wedding, another voice said. So it's final. One remarks, wow, that's what I call a rags to riches story. Someone toasted, to Lyrica's happy life, but not everyone sounded pleased. One noble scoffed, they won't be able to hide their vulgar origins for long. She questioned, who would even want to teach a child like that? Well, another replied thoughtfully, they say the princess's etiquette tutor will receive a pass to enter the Sun Palace. People were in shock. What? One explains, that privilege is only given to high-ranking nobles or aristocrats. Anyone can enter the Sky Palace, but not the Sun Palace. That's where His Majesty resides. Elsewhere, anger simmered among powerful nobles. I told him to choose an empress from our family. Someone snapped bitterly. Yet he dared to marry that vulgar woman and bring her filthy child into the palace? She sneers. How could he give those peasants the talker name? While the other person's head was down to the ground. Many other nobles complains. The empress was supposed to be chosen from our family, but others had a different opinion. One says, however, you must admit the empress is remarkably beautiful. Oh yes, most definitely. Another agreed. There's no doubt about it. With a face like that, there's no competition. She deserves to be empress. And she certainly carries herself well. Lyrica, the princess. Someone murmured thoughtfully. I'd like to meet this daughter of the overnight empress and see how incredible she really is. Well, in any case, the noble said with a smirk, I'm looking forward to seeing how things work out for the new empress and princess. Later in the imperial palace, a maid calls out, Princess Lyrica, your highness. Lyrica turns to her stammers. No, Princess Lyrica, the attendant repeated respectfully. Her Majesty will be able to see you today, she thought finally. After that whirlwind of a wedding, I received my new name the very next day. I had to give up the surname Vance. Instead, I was given the name of the imperial family, Lyrica Nara Talker. As a princess, there were only 3 people in the entire empire I had to bow to, His Majesty the Emperor, the Empress, and the Crown Prince. They said I now held an incredibly high rank and status, but I still couldn't believe it. Everything had happened so quickly like lightning. And because I had suddenly become a princess, I now had to take etiquette lessons. That meant studying, and studying, and studying. Because of my busy schedule, I only had a little free time in the mornings. But every time I went to see Mother, the attendants informed her, Her Majesty is sleeping. Her Majesty is tired and resting. Lyrica sighs and thinks, I haven't been able to see Mother at all since the wedding. She walks cheerfully, but today's the day. I can finally see the world's most beautiful and elegant mother. Her heart pounded loudly as she approached, but as the door opens she froze. Her hopes were shattered when she saw her mother, who was looking gaunt and exhausted. She froze in shock. Her mother calls out, Lyrica! Her breath caught in her throat. Why did Mother look so thin? Mother, you look really skinny, she said worriedly. Are you all right? She replied with a faint smile. Of course, I'm fine. She stared at her uncertainly. I heard you've been taking etiquette lessons, she continued gently. I hope it isn't too hard. Yes, she answered. Madame Gwendolen has been tutoring me. She said I'm doing a pretty good job overall. Madame Gwendolen remarks were, I was worried because of where she's from, but she's focused, well-mannered, and not at all a brash speaker. In fact, a student this eager to learn is all a teacher could ever ask for. Then she hesitated slightly. But her curtsy. Let's skip learning that for now, she told her mother. Madam says my curtsy is a little too spirited. Her mother laughed softly. Well, I think it's cute. But as she swayed slightly, her worry returned. Mother, are you sure you're okay? You look so tired. Have you been sleeping well at night? She murmured. At night? Hell ho ho. Then she gave a small, exhausted laugh, and said with a serious face, Of course, not. Lyrica protested. No, you have to get more sleep. Don't worry, she said reassuringly. I'll be fine. As she walked away, the sound of closing door echoed down the hall. Outside she said aloud, I wonder why Mother is so tired. Well, a pair of maids whispered nearby, giggling and snickering. That's because His Majesty won't leave her alone at night. Lyrica felt chills. She turns to them and questions, His Majesty is to blame? Yes, of course. They giggled. But don't say you've heard it from us. She stood there stunned. She thinks, has the Emperor been bothering my mother every night? He really is a terrifying man. Could he be hitting her and hurting her too? Her imagination immediately ran wild with horrible scenarios. I have to do something, she thought desperately. But what can I do? Think, Lyrica Narataka. Think. She still wasn't used to her new name, but suddenly an idea struck her. Yes, that's it. Excuse me, she said to the attendants. May I request an audience with His Majesty? Her heart pounded nervously. The attendant replies, Yes, Your Majesty. After saying that, the attendant went in to ask. Meanwhile, her heart pounded aloud as she could hear it. The attendant came back and says, His Majesty says he will see you, as long as it's quick. She cheered up a little. It worked. You don't have time to tidy yourself, the attendant added. Please come this way. She started walking, stomping. Okay, let's go, she said to herself. It's going to be okay, Lyrica. It'll be okay. Soon they arrived outside a large door. The guard announced, Princess Lyrica is here to see you, Your Majesty. As the door opened, she quickly reminded herself of the rules Madame Gwendolen taught. When you have an audience with His Majesty, until you bow to him, you mustn't look at him. There are only 3 people you must bow to, the Emperor, the Empress, and the Crown Prince. You are subordinate to only those 3. That meant she had to curtsy to the Emperor. There were 2 other figures besides the Emperor present. They turned to her. She stiffly bowed. The Emperor asked, What is it? She flinches and tried to speak, but words got caught in her mouth. Feeling embarrassed, she stammers. I came to ask for a favor, Your Majesty, he says. Speak. She gulps, thinking, Don't be scared. You can do it. Be admirable, Lyrica. Be brave. She blurted out. Please, stop bothering Mother every night. Her voice echoed. The other persons present there tried to stop themselves but couldn't. They laughed upon hearing that. The Emperor slams his hand on the table and rises up from his place. He looks at her confused. Huh! Tears came to her eyes. While sniffling, she says, Mother hasn't been able to wake up in the mornings, she continued nervously in tears. I think she hasn't been able to sleep much at night. It's too hard on her, so please. The figures present besides the Emperor were almost weeping, trying to control their laughter. She wails, so please stop bothering her. Wait, the Emperor started to say. But your mother actually enjoy. His subordinates present there interrupts him by coughing. Ahem! Another coughed loudly. HRRM! The Emperor stopped. Lyrica blinked in confusion. Why are they all coughing? She thinks maybe coughing is some kind of etiquette rule when the Emperor is speaking, and I just haven't learned about it yet. She questions herself. Is that right, Madame Gwendolen? So she coughs slightly. The Emperor's subordinates burst out laughing, slamming his hand on the table. Pwahahaha! Lyrica panicked. Did I do something wrong? Ahem. One of the men steps up and said, That fool isn't teasing you, so don't worry, brave princess. He added, kneeling down to her. His Majesty will not be bothering the Empress anymore. The Emperor interjected. Hey! He turns to the Emperor and asks, Isn't that right? The Emperor replies, All right. Lyrica cheered up and shouts, Thank you, Your Majesty. Then she finally looked around and noticed the other me. She wonders, by the way, who are these people? One of them introduced himself. I am Lat Sandart, the Chancellor. And this, he said, gesturing to the other man, is Tan Wolf. Just call me Tan, the man said easily. The Chancellor adds, He's the captain of the Imperial Guard, and the bane of the Empire. The Prime Minister and the Imperial Guard, she gasped internally. They're both very important people, Tan says. You being the Chancellor is the real bane of the Empire. Lat shot back. Repeating what I said is your comeback? How pathetic, Tan asks. What? Feeling awkward, she bowed quickly. Then, I should get going now. The problem is solved, she thought. So I probably shouldn't stay here. Just then the emperor asked, "Why?" She froze. The emperor said, "Come here." She asked, "Pardon me?" He gestures with his hand. "I said come here." He glares, saying, "I won't bite." She thinks, a contract princess must build her credit. She stiffly walks to him. He gently lifts her up and placed her on his lap. She gets shocked. He asked, "Are you a candy wrapper? Your clothes rustle like one, and you're as light as a feather. Your mother seemed to adore you, but she must have been starving you." "She did not starve me," she protested immediately. "Don't mock my mother!" "Then why are you so light?" he said lazily. "I could flick you with one finger and you'd fall over. See? Like this." He was about to, so she said, "But my body is very strong." He flicked on her forehead. She went flying and fell down head on the ground. Her words echoed in the room. "My body is strong, strong." She screamed internally, "She didn't starve me." Tan and Lat rushes while shouting, "Your Highness! Your Majesty!" Lat asked the Emperor, "Your Majesty, what is the meaning of this?" Tan picks her up and asked, "Your Highness, you really are as light as a candy wrapper." But she repeated to herself, trying not to cry, "I'm strong. I'm strong." Then Lat turns to her, "Your Highness, are you all right?" As he raised his hand to reach out to her, she again felt the fear of the landlord trying to hit her. She closed her eyes in fear. Moments later she was sitting on sofa while Lat and Tan caressed for her. Lat said, "Your forehead is red. There's no bump on the back of your head, though." He asked, "How does it feel? Does it hurt when I touch it?" Lyrica wasn't able to handle the overwhelming affection from all of them. She sniffs and says, "I'm fine." Both Lat and Tan glares at the Emperor, "Your Majesty." He countered, "She said she was strong. I bet Otto would have been fine." The Crown Prince. Lat replies, "The Crown Prince is a boy, and he's a talker." The Emperor sighed awkwardly. "Sorry, I've never had a daughter before." Then he ordered, "Call the doctor, and bring snacks that the princess might like." His aide bowed, then glanced towards Lyrica. He looked slightly confused. Lat thinks in his mind, the Empress is one thing, but no one is quite sure how to treat the adopted princess. And now the Emperor has summoned the princess to his study and called a doctor for her, and even ordered snacks. The doctor checked her forehead carefully. "Did you hit your head on something? This ointment should help with swelling." He quietly observed the scene. He thought, the three main powers of the empire are all taking care of this one girl. Lat realized, I'm sure what he's thinking. It looks like the princess's life in the palace is going to change. After all, the emperor's favor was the most powerful protection anyone could have in the imperial palace. Soon snacks were placed in front of her. She asked, "Won't you have some with me?" "No thanks," they replied. "It's all for you, Your Highness, so please enjoy." Lyrica thinks in her mind, just last week, I had been staring longingly at a loaf of bread in a bakery. Now she drips the snack in chocolate jam and carefully puts it in her mouth. She took a bite. Her eyes widened. Seeing her stunned and happy, everyone felt relieved. She shakes and flail excitedly. As she was eating, Lat chuckled quietly. "I still think it's low of you to escape the situation by giving her delicious food," he said to the Emperor. "But at least it worked." Honestly, the Emperor thought, I had completely forgotten about my daughter before today. But now, I don't think I'll be able to forget her. Meanwhile, Lyrica gulped down the drink, thinking, I never knew anything could taste like this. The Emperor watched thoughtfully. Who else could make such an unforgettable entrance? She recalled her saying, "Please stop bothering my mother." He felt a strange chill. And I thought she didn't take after her mother at first. But now he saw it clearly. She has her mother's eyes that stare right into my soul. He watched her carefully. Finally, she stood up and bowed. I'll be going now." "Oh, Your Highness," the Chancellor said suddenly. "Before you leave, I'd like to ask you a question." She paused. He asked, "Who told you that the Empress was being bothered every night?" He leaned forward slightly. "Was it, perhaps, the Empress herself?" Lat looked at her carefully, and a sudden thought crossed her mind. "They don't think I'm here because Mother sent me, do they?" "What?" she blurted out nervously. No, I'm here on my own," he asked calmly. "Then who told you that?" She mumbled, unable to explain properly. "Well, just because. I understand," Lat replied after a moment. "Then let me ask you another question. How do you like living in the palace?" She answered quickly. "I've been working very hard to adjust," he said thoughtfully. "I see." Then he turned to the Emperor. "Your Majesty, How about we assign Bryn's soul as Her Highness's personal maid? The Emperor replied. All right, Lat remarks. Splendid. Lyrica observed. Lat seems very serene, but he might not be a good person. There are few good people in high positions of power. People of high status are often firm, and sometimes very cold. Wouldn't Lat be like that too, since he's the Chancellor? Tan Wolf said suddenly. Then I'll escort the princess back to her chambers. It's all right, she protested quickly. I can go by myself. No, we can't have that, Tan replied with a grin. A princess must always travel with an escort. We could send a servant with you, but I'd like the honor today. You'll let me play hooky for a bit, won't you, Your Highness? She hesitates. Oh. Before she could react, he suddenly lifted her. She squeaked in panic. IH! Yikes! What's happening? She flailed helplessly on his back, mortified. She thinks, thank goodness I'm wearing layers of underpants and petticoats. I'm already 8 years old though. I'm all grown up, she nervously said. Sir Wolf, he said easily. You can just call me Tan. Then he turned to a servant. You there. Guide me to the princess's chambers. She trembled slightly as they moved through the palace halls. Tan instructed her. A talker never uses honorifics to refer to anyone, unless they're part of their own family. The servants nearby all looked shocked. Lyrica thinks, everyone looks so surprised. This is so embarrassing. Is this even allowed? Then another thought hit her. No, wait, is this okay for a princess? Then she resolves and said to herself, you're a princess now, Lyrica. You should start acting like one. From trembling and quivering to trying to compose herself, she cleared her throat. Then she gets straight and regally while Tan chuckles. She asked, then, Tan, if you're from House Wolf, do you know Lauv? She suddenly froze. Oh, I stopped using honorifics. All right. Oh, Tan replied casually. He's a member of my family. Probably a distant cousin, she said. I see. Well, please tell him I'm sorry for all the harsh things I said, Tan repeated with amusement. Harsh things? He puts her down at her chambers, she said. When he brought me to the palace, I thought he was kidnapping me, so… Tan burst out laughing. Ha! Whatever you said, Your Highness, I'm sure it couldn't have been that harsh. But I'll pass the message along. Tan only laughed harder and left. Eventually, we reached my chambers. Bye-bye, she said cheerfully. After he left, she wobbled slightly on her feet. She plops on her bed and took a sigh. Wow, what a long morning. I'm so tired. I should rest a little before my etiquette lesson. She flopped onto the bed, thinking about everything that had happened. That fried bread and chocolate were so delicious. I didn't expect that dark drink to taste so good either. Then she wandered toward the window and realized, I didn't know this part of the palace had such a beautiful view of the garden. Suddenly someone knocks at the door. May I come in? She gets surprised. Huh! The door opened, and a woman stepped inside, bowing politely. Princess Lyrica, I am Bryn's soul. I will be your personal maid from today onward. It's a pleasure to meet you. Lyrica looks at her in confusion for a moment. Huh! Then she remembered what Lat had said earlier. Why don't we assign Bryn's soul as Her Highness's personal maid? Oh, she said quickly. It's a pleasure to meet you too. Bryn smiled warmly. Your Highness, His Majesty has ordered that you move to a different chamber. What? Don't worry, she continued calmly. The servants will move all of your belongings. In her other room she stared in shock. This is your new room. Bryn gestured around proudly. Over there is the balcony, and this is the living room. Do you see the sitting area over there? Lyrica exclaims. Wow, Bryn guided her. This is the guest room, the dressing room, another sitting area, and this is your bedchamber. The adjoining room is… Lyrica was in awe. Whoa, do you like your new room? Bryn asked gently. It's much closer to the Empress's bedchamber. Really? Yes. I love it, she exclaimed excitedly. I can see the entire garden from the window. Can I go outside? Bryn replied. Of course. From the balcony Lyrica can see the whole garden. She exclaims, Wow, Bryn said with a smile. I'm glad you like it, Your Highness. She then added, This room is called the White Dragon Chamber. Lyrica repeats, The White Dragon? Bryn explains, Yes. Did you know that the founding emperor of Taka was said to be a dragon? In the Sun Palace, all chambers belonging to members of the imperial family are named after dragons. Just so you know, the crown prince resides in the Black Dragon Chamber. She wondered, That room next door? She wondered briefly about her old room. What was the name of the room I had before? She thinks Bryn might get flustered if I asked, and somehow she doubted it had a grand name like a dragon chamber. And the silver dragon chamber is always reserved for the Empress, Bryn continued. It's just one flight of stairs up. She rushed up the stairs. As the door opens, she lunges towards her mother. Her mother called out, "Rika!" she says. "Mother!" She pulled her into a tight hug. Her mother said, "My sweetheart, come to mommy." They both giggled, hugging each other warmly. Lyrica thinks in her mind, now that the Emperor has promised to leave Mother alone, I should be able to see her every morning. There's nothing more to worry about. "Rika," her mother said gently, looking at her. "I heard you went to see His Majesty," she asked, startled. "How did you know?" she replied. "His Majesty came by to see me." Mother held her shoulders gently and looked at her with concern. "Rika, thank you for worrying about me," she said softly. "But you don't need to put yourself at risk like that. I was so shocked when I heard what happened. But I did it for you, Mother," she thought earnestly. "And His Majesty wasn't as scary as I thought." "I know you did it because you were worried about me, Rika," she said, her voice warm but serious. "But I'm saying this because I'm worried about you. You mustn't go see His Majesty like that again. Okay?" She leaned down and pressed a small kiss on her forehead. "Still," Lyrica added thoughtfully, "I don't think His Majesty is a bad person." Her mother suddenly grabbed her shoulders firmly. She said, "That's exactly why he's dangerous. Just because he was kind to you and showed you a little affection doesn't mean you should trust him. Is that clear?" She looked at her gravely. "His Majesty is fully capable of slitting your throat with a smile on his face." She swallowed nervously. "My throat," Lyrica replied. "Understand?" Her mother adds, "I'm not trying to scare you, but it's better to be safe than sorry." Then her expression softened again. She changed the subject. "Well, what shall we do now? Would you like to spend the day with me today? You can even sleep in my bed tonight." "Really?" She brightened. "But I have etiquette lessons." Then Birin interjected. "I'm sorry to interrupt. My apologies, Your Majesty," the woman said politely. "But Madame Gwendolen, Princess Lyrica's etiquette tutor, was told not to come today because Her Highness hurt her forehead." Her mother turned to her. She asked, "And who are you?" "I am Bryn Sol, Your Majesty," the woman replied with a bow. "I have been assigned as Princess Lyrica's personal maid." Her mother giggled slightly. "So you're from House Sol, heh? Well, that's wonderful." Her mother settled down and thinks proudly. "Look at my Lyrica! How could she be so cute and bright? She's claimed her place all on her own." House Sol had served the imperial family of Taka for generations. Serving House Taka was a great source of pride for them. The fact that a direct descendant like Bryn Sol had been assigned to Lyrica meant that they were willing to treat her like a true member of the imperial family. When her mother became the empress, she had replaced the head maid of the imperial palace and taken charge of the household, while Lyrica was still staying in a guest room. However, she hadn't thought she could interfere in matters regarding her maids and tutors. She hadn't even expected the emperor to care about such things. After all, there were many people who were trying to obstruct her, unwilling to accept her as an empress who had appeared overnight. And yet, the emperor had gone out of his way to help. "Rika," her mother laughed softly, "it's because you're irresistibly cute. You're so adorable that even a dragon has fallen for your charms." She chuckled again. Her mother thinks in her mind, "Of course, I won't forgive him if he ever lays a finger on her." Then she suddenly squeezed her cheeks. "My baby, how are you so cute? How are you this beautiful, adorable, and lovely?" She paused, her eyes filling with emotion. "And why didn't I realize this before?" She hugged her tightly. Recalling a horrible dream, she hugged her tightly and said, "I love you." She trembled while she said that. Lyrica thinks in confusion, why do mothers sometimes laugh and cry at the same time? Her mother again said, "I love you, Lyrica." She said softly, "I love you too, Mother." Later that day, a servant introduced a dress excitedly. "The bustle dress Your Majesty wore at the wedding is going to become the next fashion trend," she adds, smiling. "It's already quite popular among the social elite." Lyrica thinks, but shouldn't a princess's dress look more like this? A crinoline dress. Her mother suddenly leaned down and kissed her cheek again. She whispered, "I've become unbelievably happy." Later, while walking, she said, "I love you." At another moment she said, "I love you, Lyrica." Again, while lying to sleep, her mother again said, "I love you." Lyrica thinks, I've become so unbelievably happy. So happy, it's almost frightening. I should really listen to mother's advice. But somehow, she found herself sitting in the emperor's study again. She thought, what am I doing back here? That scary man could slit my throat with a smile on his face. Her mother's warning echoed in her mind. Lyrica, you must not go see His Majesty. But the problem was, he had been calling for her every single day. Just then a servant knocks at the door and came with snacks. He said politely, Pardon me, Your Highness. He served her the snacks. Please enjoy some macarons. The next day, have some eclairs. The next, would you like some rose cakes? Again, these are called financiers. Every day, different sweets were brought out for her, and every day, they were unbelievably delicious. Lyrica thinks, I suspected Mother and the Emperor had argued about it at some point. But His Majesty must have won, because Mother had stopped saying much about it lately. That's why I've become somewhat used to this. Maybe a little too used to it. She slumped on her seat. She told herself, quickly straightening her posture. No, act like a princess. Meanwhile, the Emperor stared at her thoughtfully. He wondered, Why isn't she growing? Lad asked. What do you mean? I'm talking about the kid, he replied bluntly. She's clearly eating well, so why isn't she growing? Your Majesty, Lad said patiently. It hasn't even been 10 days yet, he seriously said. But Otto grew every day. Do you think she might have some kind of condition? Your Majesty, Lad replied calmly. Princess Lyrica is not from House Talker, House Barat, House Sandar, or House Wolf. In any case, she is not of noble birth. 10 nods to that. Lyrica raised his arm. The Emperor asked, What is it? I don't have a condition, she protested. And I'm strong. I'm growing very well. Bryn says I can start wearing bigger clothes too. And besides, she cleared her throat and added proudly, I'm a talker too. My new name is Lyrica Nara Talker, she thinks firmly. That still makes me a talker, right? What's the point of having a contract if I'm going to back down when it matters most? That's right, Lad said with a grin. Princess Lyrica is a talker. The Emperor studied her for a moment. Come to think of it, she does look less haggard than when I first saw her. Still, he frowned. But shouldn't you be growing this much every week? What? She gasped. No one can grow that fast. Maybe a plant could, the Emperor said casually. But I did, she blurted out. Well, that's because Your Majesty isn't human. The room fell silent. Lat and Tan also get shocked. Lyrica felt chills. The Emperor slowly turned his head. Who told you that? Lyrica was taken aback. Huh? The Emperor's gaze sharpened slightly. Lyrica thinks he asked it as if it is nothing, but I can feel that the question is much more serious than that. Her heart thumped nervously in her chest. She concludes, I have to give him a proper answer. The imperial family is descended from dragons, she explained carefully. So Your Majesty being a dragon is what Bryn told me, she continued, trying to remember everything she had said. The Empress's room is called the Silver Dragon Chamber, and the Crown Prince's room is the Black Dragon Chamber. But there's no dragon in the name of Your Majesty's chamber, because Your Majesty is the dragon himself. Oh, Lat quickly cleared his throat. Ahem, Princess Lyrica is technically correct, he said cautiously. But saying His Majesty isn't human could be misunderstood, so it would be better not to. The Emperor interrupted lazily. So what? Isn't that what everyone thinks anyway? They talk about me as if I'm inhuman and emotionless, Lyrica adds. Well, I was actually touched when I first heard that story, because it feels like a faraway fairy tale. Then he crooked his finger, beckoning her closer. She hurried over. He studied her quietly. This small, weak child. She runs to me whenever I call her, without any fear of death. No, that's not quite right. It's not that she doesn't fear me. I'm sure she does. She lifts her up and placed her on his lap. He continues, she simply trusts that I won't hurt her. His heart raced, and for some reason, I don't want to break that trust. He gently patted her head. How intriguing. Then he looked down at her and asked suddenly, Why, Your Majesty? He said. Pardon me? He said with a grin. You should call me Papa. She gets surprised. Huh? I said, he repeated calmly. Call me Papa. For a moment, the room fell silent. How interesting, he thought, watching her closely. Are her eyes the result of those eyes? Memories flickered through his mind. He recalled her mother saying, Until the Crown Prince ascends the throne, I will enter a contract marriage with you for 8 years. His remembered the nobles pestering him, Your Majesty, you must choose an empress soon. The throne cannot remain vacant for long. He thought, they can't even look me in the eye, yet they rant about the Empress's throne, hoping to claim a piece of it. Disgusting. Then her mother had spoken. I will marry you, Your Majesty. For the next 8 years, I want you to support me so I can do everything I need to do as Empress. He had warned her. Even with my support, there is only so much I can do for you as Emperor. High society is a war zone. But she had answered without hesitation. I know. I will handle the conniving foxes, wolves, snakes, and flowers with thorns for you, Your Majesty. He thinks, so far, she's exceeded all my expectations enough to make me wonder where she was hiding all my life. But compared to her mother, this child is like no one I've ever met before. At least no one from within the palace. Back to present, Lyrica asked hesitantly. Your Majesty? He looked at her again. Why Your Majesty? She asked. Pardon me? He said simply. Papa. She gets shocked. Huh? Call me Papa, he said again. Papa. Both Lat and Tan flinched. Lyrica hesitated. He insisted. It's true, isn't it? She stammered, but... She shrieks. Huh! Her mind spun wildly and her heart raced. She said, I suppose you're right? Meanwhile, Lat and Tan enjoyed the scene. She thinks in her mind, His Majesty is a papa now? He seems like a nice man, but isn't this just a contract relationship? Do I really have to call him that when it's just work? Wouldn't I be crossing the line? Her mind wasn't able to process papa. Father. She recalled the scene where she imagined meeting her birth father. She thinks, he isn't an imaginary father, or a father whose face I've never seen. This man in front of me really is my dad. He's real. Someone I can see. Someone I can touch. She stammers. Well. Just then tears came to her eyes. Her eyes filled with tears. She hiccuped. She slapped herself saying, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. She slapped her own cheek slightly in panic. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Stop it, the Emperor said immediately, grabbing her hands. There's no need to do that. She sniffled. I'm sorry. She thinks in her mind, no adult likes a crying child. The Emperor sighed quietly. I suppose, just because I married your mother doesn't mean I can suddenly become your father. He extends his hand towards Lat, who pulls out a handkerchief from his robe. The Emperor adds, It was my fault for trying to force you. You've done nothing wrong. He wiped her tears gently. She thinks, I see. For the next 8 years, you are my father. When my mother entered a contract marriage, that meant I'd be gaining a father. The Emperor huffs. Anyway, your mother will probably have a fit when she finds out I made you cry. Lyrica laughs. Pwahaha. He held out the handkerchief. Here. Blow. She turns her face away. He insists. I said blow. Here. Lat interjects. Maybe you should stop embarrassing her. She mumbled. I can wipe my own nose. Finally she gave in. Fine then. He patted her head twice. No, he said lightly. Shall we get to work? Lat replied. Absolutely. As they get busy in their works, she quietly wondered something. I wonder if he's going to ask me to call him Papa again. She said inwardly, Papa? Papa, and smiled lying in his lap. Being hopeful, she thought, maybe sometime in the future. I really hope I do. Later Lyrica told Bryn. By the way, I noticed how dirty his desk was when I got a closer look. I couldn't see it yesterday because it was covered with documents. Bryn exclaims, Oh my. Lyrica continued, When I offered to wipe clean His Majesty's ink bottle, he said this. He looks at his messy and dirty desk and said, From now on, you can do whatever you want. Lat remarks, You're just making her clean for you. Don't say it like you're being serious. And just like that, I ended up in charge of cleaning his study. But Your Highness, Bryn protested gently. You shouldn't be doing such menial work, she replied. But I want to do something for His Majesty. Bryn asked. Oh, is that why Sir Tan gave you that bowl of candy? Uh-huh. She nodded happily. Isn't it pretty? When I finished cleaning, Tan Wolf had looked around the room and said, The study is all clean now, thanks to you, Your Highness. Lyrica adds, Just like you guessed, Bryn, that's what he said. Then something occurred to her. But if his family name is Wolf, do you call all knights from House Wolf Sir Wolf too? Well, Bryn explained. Only the head of House Wolf is called Sir Wolf. Lyrica asked. Really? Bryn thinks, in her mind, the Emperor disliked having too many people going in and out of his study, so he only allowed his closest confidants inside. When the palace staff heard that the little princess was going to clean the Emperor's study, Most of them laughed and expected her to fail. But she turned out to be more capable than they thought. And she even surprised them when she sorted the trash from the documents. Some twisted and unpleasant people scoffed at her, and said that her roots were finally showing. It seemed like Chancellor Lat was worried at first, though. He muttered, "I can't stand seeing the office get any filthier." Then he watched quietly as Lyrica worked. "She's more systematic than I thought." He even looked surprised when Lyrica organized the documents too. Then he suddenly asked her, "Do you know how to read?" Lyrica admitted shyly, "Not fully yet." Bryn thinks to herself, "How adorable." Just then, as Lyrica was staring at her reflection at the candy bowl, Bryn gets confused. "Huh?" she asked. "Your Highness?" she asked nervously. Bryn, do you think I haven't been growing?" The Emperor's words echoed in her head. "You should grow this much every week." "No," Bryn said immediately. "You're growing just fine." "Did someone say something to you?" She leaned closer and whispered quietly in her ear. Upon hearing that, Bryn chuckles and said, "That's not true. You're growing perfectly well. They're just the ones who grew too fast. There's a reason they're so strong. Well, they're simply incredibly strong people." Lyrica asked curiously. "What's the reason?" Bryn chuckled. "I told you that His Majesty and House Talker are descendants of dragons, right?" she asked. "Would you like me to tell you more about the founding of the empire?" she said eagerly. "Yes. They say that long ago, the people of the world were powerful mages," Bryn began. "They could make anything happen with their thoughts. God told them to use their will only for good. But the people didn't listen. After a great upheaval, the continent where humans lived collapsed and sank into the sea. But a few people obeyed God's command and built a ship on top of a mountain. When the continent broke apart and fell into the ocean, a dragon flew down and carried the ship into the sky. That's how the people survived and eventually came to this land. But at that time, the land was covered in dark forests and marshes and filled with monsters. So the dragon transformed into a human and led the people in battle against the monsters. Eventually, they claimed the land and built a nation." Lyrica asked. "Was that dragon a talker?" Bryn replied. "That's right. As the nation expanded, some intelligent monsters asked the dragon if they could join him. Among them was a giant wolf, whose descendants became House Wolf, and the people of House Sandar are descendants of a giant snake as thick as a tree. The dragon gave them human forms, and they pledged loyalty to House Talker. But if they ever betrayed the dragon, they would return to their original forms. That's why many noble family crests feature animals. So it's only natural that they're so strong." She smiled at her reassuringly. "You're growing just fine, Princess. They just tend to grow at an alarming rate." She sighed in relief. "Phew. I see." Then she asked another question. "Does your family have a story like that too?" "Yes," Bryn said proudly. "We are said to be descendants of ravens. That's why the dragon kept us as servants, because of our intelligence and cleverness," Lyrica replied. "I see," she thought. No wonder Bryn's headband is always so shiny. Lat being a snake and Tan being a wolf suits them well. Even the way they constantly bickered makes sense. And then another thought struck her. "I just realized, I know so little about the Imperial Palace, even less than Bryn. But I'm the princess. Well, by contract only. Still, I'm his daughter. Even if it's only by contract," she resolves, "I might only be a small part of Mother's contract marriage, and technically I didn't have any rights in that contract. But this is about my pride. Bryn," she said suddenly, "come and have a seat." She quickly complied and rushes to beside her. "My pleasure, Your Highness." Lyrica looked firmly in her eyes and said, "I want to be a great princess." Bryn looked surprised. "Oh my." Lyrica added, "If I'm going to be a princess, wouldn't it be better to be a great one instead of just a normal one?" Bryn agreed. "Of course," Lyrica said. "Right? But I know so little about the palace, and I hardly know anything about the nobles or the imperial family. But you've served the imperial family for a long time, so you know much more than I do." She grabs her hand and requested, "So, will you help me, Bryn?" She replied instantly, "Sure." Lyrica thought, "That was fast." Bryn thought in surprise, "She's asking for my help?" The Takars were known for commanding and dominating others. No one would have imagined that a talker would ask someone from House Soul for anything. But it's true that this child isn't a real talker. Some members of Bryn's family were upset that a direct descendant like her had been assigned to serve the girl. But this is the Emperor's order, and a talker's command is absolute. Besides, with the current Emperor's temper, He might destroy us all if he didn't get his way. Or worse, we might turn back into crows. Honestly, Bryn thought, I like the princess regardless of all that. Even more than the real Takars. She stands out in this palace full of monsters precisely because she's ordinary and simple. And also she's adorable. Let me repeat that because it's important. She is absolutely adorable. Bryn confirmed. Of course, Your Highness. I, Bryn Soul, will do everything I can to help you. So, she asked with a warm smile, what would you like to learn about first? Bryn, eyes shining with a slightly unsettling eagerness, leans in. So what would you like to learn about first? The little princess, Lyrica, bounces with excitement. The palace? Lyrica, determined, climbs the grand staircase, declaring, this is my home now, so it doesn't make sense that I don't know about its structure, or who lives in it. She's on a mission to familiarize herself with every nook and cranny of the imperial palace. First and foremost, I need to have a good idea of the structure and layout of the imperial palace. Then I'll be able to move around freely to do my work. Bryn nods. All right. Just leave it to me. Lyrica peers at a massive map spread out on a table. Are there this many rooms? Her tiny finger traces a path. What's this path for? Bryn explains. That's the servants' corridor. That door leads to the servants' quarters. As they entered a room, a startled voice calls out, Your Highness? You're here? Lyrica points to another area. Then what's this? Bryn reveals. It's a secret escape passage. Lyrica asks. Is it supposed to be marked if it's a secret? Bryn smiles. Normally it's not, but I am a soul, she thinks. The history of the Imperial Palace is the history of House Soul, Lyrica thinks. I'm glad I asked Bryn to teach me. At another place, she asks. Then what about here? A guard blocks their path. You may not pass this point. Lyrica is surprised. Huh? But, the guard is firm. This place isn't open to just anyone. Bryn flinches, but Lyrica calmly says, why yes, I understand. Let's go, Bryn. Come on. Later, seated on a swing, Bryn told. That place was off limits, but besides that, it's hard to look around this vast palace, isn't it? Lyrica replies. Yes, it is. And I'm starting to get used to having people bow to me wherever I go. Then, a refined voice interrupts her thoughts. Your Highness, it's Lat, carrying books and scrolls, he asks. You look busy, Your Highness, Lyrica explains. I'm walking around the palace to get familiar with its layout. It's my home now, so I thought I should know. Lat smiles. You're absolutely right. He pauses, then asks, was there anywhere you couldn't go? Lyrica exclaims. Oh, yes, there was a place that was guarded by soldiers. Lat chuckles. Oh dear. Then, Your Highness, Lyrica, suddenly nervous, thinks, something feels scary. Lat leans in. If you go to the Imperial Guard quarters, you'll find Ten there. Tell him what happened and ask for a guard to escort you. Brine chuckles. Oh my, what a great idea. Lyrica, hopeful, says. So, the Imperial Guard quarters, Lat confirms. Lyrica gets pumped. All right. Lat smiles. Your Highness, what is your surname? Lyrica replies. Talker. Lat tells her. Don't forget that. After she left, he remarks. And gaining the help of House Soul is quite impressive. Lyrica and Bryn arrive at the Imperial Guard quarters to find a chaotic training session underway. Lyrica thinks. Everyone is in groups except for that man. She wonders. Is that Sir Lauv? The guard shouts excitedly after seeing her. Hello, Your Highness! A gaggle of guards surrounds her. She's so tiny. And cute. She's so small. She's adorable. Can we help you with anything? Lyrica, overwhelmed, says. It's nice to meet you all too. She gets overwhelmed. They're all huge. Then a voice bursts, opens the door through the crowd. He says, Princess Lyrica? What are you doing here? One of his subordinates cries out, Captain, please! The documents! Lyrica turns to him. I came to tell you something. I just ran into a lot. She glances nervously at the guards. Should I really say this in front of so many people? Tan quickly lifts her up, saying, Excuse me for a second, he says. There, you can whisper it in my ear now, so. Then he turns towards Bryn and says, Your maid, over there, can put her knife away. As she looks towards Bryn, she was ready with her blade to strike Tan. He adds, Taking that out in the middle of a pack of wolves will kill you, you know. Lyrica quickly tells her, Bryn, I'm fine. Bryn shouts, Please refrain from putting your hands on Her Highness and handling her like that, the captain says. That's why I excused myself in advance. Doing this isn't too much among friends, you know. Lyrica asks. Friends? The captain responds. Are we not? Lyrica replies, No, I'd love to be your friend. The captain smiles. Ha! How cute! So tell me what happened, Lyrica whispers. Well, Lyrica thinks. These wolves can hear everything. Then she tells him the story and announces. So I've come to borrow a night. The captain considers, and with a flash of his eyes he gives a thumbs up. Then I'll go. Just then his subordinate speaks from behind. So Lyrica hesitates, but Tan asks, Is there a problem? Glancing towards him, Lyrica replies, A problem. Tan sternly says to his subordinate, You do know affairs of the imperial family come first, don't you? His subordinate gave in. I'll see you later then. The captain walks away holding Lyrica and laughs. Tan holds Lyrica, she says. I thought you'd say no. He continues to lecture her as they walk with Bryn. Your Highness, how many people did I say you have to bow down to? Lyrica responds. 3, he confirms. That's right, he explains. The Emperor's orders are also called the words of the dragon. The words of the dragon are absolute in the Empire. Even if you put up a scarecrow and call him a talker, all the nobles of the Empire will have to bow down to it. Lyrica thinks. Are His Majesty's orders that important? I've tried to think of doing the same thing as a princess, but I couldn't imagine whatever I say being that important. Tan adds. His Majesty has formally adopted you as his daughter. Lyrica spoke, but internally she says, I'm sure Tan and Bryn have no idea that I'm a temporary contract princess. I'm only an adopted daughter. Tan winks and says, You're the princess that can order the captain of the Imperial Guard around with a twitch of her chin. She gets surprised. 3. So Tan laughs, ha ha ha. Lyrica thinks, Really? Is that how that works? He explains further. The only 4 surviving Takars are the Emperor, the Empress, the Crown Prince, and you, Princess Lyrica. In other words, you are only second in line to the throne. Lyrica replies, But it doesn't matter because the Crown Prince is going to take the throne anyway, right? That's too much for me to wrap my head around. Tan replies, Yes, but what I'm saying is, that's how high your status is. Lyrica marches forward, stomping her feet. Tan hides away and told her, I'll be watching you from the back. He thinks to himself that he's on a stakeout to catch a culprit. As the guard stops her, she asks, Are you not going to let me through? The guard replies firmly, No, you may not enter. Lyrica grits her teeth, clenching her fist. Ugh! No! I have Bryn and Tan behind me. You can do this, Lyrica. She questions, Why can't I go past? The guard states, This is His Majesty's order. Lyrica thinks, Oh, if that's what His Majesty ordered, there's nothing I can do about it, right? She glances back at Bryn. Bryn smirks evilly. Lyrica wonders, Bryn steps forward. Did His Majesty specifically order that the princess be stopped from passing through here? The guard strains. Arg! He smashes his spear on the ground and announces, She still can't. Bryn guards Lyrica from the guard. Just then Tan shouts from behind, She can't do what? The guard quickly turns towards him. Tan demands, Tell me, what isn't she allowed to do? He gives a sinister smile. The guard shakes from fear. Tan grabs his spear and demands, State your name and rank. The guard nervously replies, John Enders, first ranking officer in the 1st Imperial Guard, sir. Tan, while folding his spears in anger, asks, All right, Enders. So what did you say she isn't allowed to do? The guard stammers, Well, Tan sneers as he continues molding the spear. Oh, I know that even nobles need a special pass to enter the Sun Palace. But does that apply to members of the Imperial family as well? The guard trembles. No, sir. Tan asks, Do you not recognize her maid? The guard whimpers. I didn't, sir. Tan questions again. Don't you know that only members of the Imperial family have personal maids? Have you not learned the basics? He replies, trembling, No, sir. Tan folds his spear into a ball shape and shoves it into the guard chest. Go and bring me your superior. Enders stumbles and wobbles while leaving. Tan thinks, Not only is it unheard of to forbid entry to a princess, but he even dared to frown at her, and he smashed his spear on the ground to intimidate her. How could he threaten such a small child? A wolf would never imagine doing such a thing. He smiles. I expected some resistance, But how could a mere officer treat a princess, even an adopted one, like that? Then he turns to Lyrica. Now you may go as you please, Your Highness, he says internally. There's no need for her to see what I'm about to do next. He started walking, saying, I'll take care of it from here. Just then Lyrica calls out, Are you sure you'll be all right on your own? Tan turns back in shock. Lyrica exclaims, I can go with you. Of course, I know you can manage well on your own, but still, it's better to fight together than alone. His eyes widen, blinking in surprise. He laughs. Pwaha, she adds. If I get scared, I'll go tell His Majesty, so don't worry. Just then the Emperor says, There won't be any need for that. The Emperor was watching them from above, standing with Lat. Lyrica bows to him and greets. Hello, Your Majesty. Bryn bows. Lyrica curtsies. Tan, scratching his head, says, I came to teach that soldier a lesson, not to say hello. The Emperor says, Isn't it funny? He stepped forward, saying, How could a mere officer have the nerve to do something like that? Don't you think there's someone backing him? He pokes her forehead. She gets surprised at first, then she quivers. The Emperor grins down at her. You are a talker indeed, he continues. Being a talker has nothing to do with what kind of person you are, what you have or don't have, or whether you're worth anything or not. The Emperor then declares, I have adopted you as my daughter, and that means everyone shall bow down before you. If not, they would be defying my orders. His expression is serious, letting everyone know he means business. The Emperor asks, So who was it? Tan replies, A first-ranking officer in the 1st Imperial Guard. Lat nods, I see. Then he turns to Lyrica and smiles ominously. Princess Lyrica, please enjoy the Sun Palace as much as you'd like and leave the rest to us. Seeing that Lyrica thinks he's scary when he smiles. And as Lyrica walks down the hall with her maid, she thinks, I guess he isn't a chancellor because he's kind. Soldiers salute as they pass, and Lyrica muses. The soldiers have been replaced at all the other posts that were restricted too. News must travel fast around here. Bryn chuckles softly. She tells Lyrica, Of course, this is a matter that deals with you, Your Highness. Matters dealing with the imperial family are not taken lightly. The maid leans in close. So what is it like to have a taste of power, Your Highness? Lyrica wonders, a taste of power? Is this the taste of power? Lyrica eats a sweet treat and thinks, I wouldn't be able to taste this either if I hadn't become the princess, would I? Again, while in bed, she thinks, the taste of power. If I wasn't a princess, I wouldn't have such a comfy bed either. Power is great. The next day, Lat suggests, Don't you think that's the taste of money? The Emperor throws documents away and says power is about how well you can use it. Papers fly around the room as Tan cries out, Your Majesty! Lyrica quickly grabs all the papers and proudly presents it. Then she told them, In that case, I have more than enough power, seeing as I've never been as comfortable as I have been lately. Then she remembers and says, Oh, I should get going now. Bryn said she was going to introduce me to the other maids today. After she left, Lat says to others, Thanks to Her Highness, we got to replace the soldiers in the Imperial Army and place Imperial Guards within the Sun Palace. As for the Outer Palace, we'll have to use soldiers to save face, but I'm sure they'll get absorbed into the Imperial Guards eventually. I hear the Empress has also replaced the head maid and her closest aides. The Emperor replies, Yes, Lydia asked if she could replace the head maid, so I told her that's the Empress's decision. She found evidence of embezzlement, and replaced them as if she had been waiting. Thanks to that, she was able to get rid of all ties to noble factions within the Sun Palace in one fell swoop. Lat remarks, Her new selection of aides was so appropriate that I thought she had looked through my investigation notes. I almost fell for her. The Emperor thinks, She's so bold that it's hard to believe she doesn't have anyone backing her. She's a player that moves her pieces in the game. She isn't anyone else's pawn, he remarks. She always surprises me. Later her mother says to her, Rika, you smell so sweet today. She hugs her tightly, pecking her. Lyrica tells her, I was introduced to one of the new maids and went to the kitchen with Bryn. I had some good food there, and they even packed a bunch of things for me. Her mother asks, You went to the kitchen? Her mother remembers, Oh right, I've already replaced everyone. No one would have fed her anything strange. Lyrica replies, There was a lot of good food. Lydia nods, I see. Did you go to His Majesty's study today? Lyrica giggles, Yes, His Majesty threw his papers around everywhere. Lydia's expression darkens. How dare that little dragon bastard? Lyrica tilts her head, confused. Lydia smiles. Ha, relax, relax. Rika, you're working too hard. Lyrica replies. No, it's actually fun. Lyrica asks. By the way, are all those letters for you, Mother? Lydia answers. Yes, they're responses to invitations I've sent. Mommy's going to open a salon. Lydia whispers. Also, I'm going to start investing my contract fee soon. Lyrica asks. Contract fee. Lydia explains. Yes, I received a deposit when I first started this work, and I'll have to leave all these assets behind when I leave. I should make a lot of money while I'm here, don't you think? Lyrica thinks. She seems so confident. She tells her mother. Mother, you shouldn't invest in things like cure-all holy water or jars that bring happiness. You have to be careful of con artists. Lydia smiles. Oh my, why would I need to be any happier when I have you, Rika? So don't worry. I only invest in things that I am 100% sure will make a profit. Lyrica wonders. Is that even possible? Why am I getting déjà vu? Her mother stops her. Don't worry. Mommy knows what she's doing. Lyrica tells her mother. Then tell me when you're about to invest. Promise. Lydia promises. Yes, of course. Then she jingles a bell and says, Actually, I have something to give you right now. A maid appears, carrying a tray. And on it was a coin. Lyrica gets surprised. It can't be. Lyrica's eyes widen. She staggers. She trembles as she reaches out for it. Her mother says, It took me a while to find the exact same silver coin. That old man failed to keep it safe like he promised. She asks, Is that your silver coin, though? Rika clutches the coin, relieved. Oh, yes. It's my silver coin. She thinks, I could never forget a single stain or mark on my silver coin, not after the many times I held it, dreaming about my future. To be honest, I was a bit disappointed that I lost it, but I didn't think anything could be done. I've never even thought about wanting another silver coin, because it wouldn't be the same as the one I held in my hand for so long. But saying this out loud would make me sound like a spoiled child. She sniffles and hugs her mother. Thank you, Mother. Her mother responds. No, thank you, and I'm sorry that I couldn't find other coins that were exactly the same. Lyrica pulls back, smiling brightly. No, it's fine. What matters is that it's a silver coin. Her mother thinks. I tried so hard to find this coin, but... She smiles gently. Rika, I'm happy as long as you're happy. They embrace each other. Later, walking up the stairs, Rika sniffs. Bryn notices. You seem so happy. Rika nods, a little hiccup in her voice. I'm going to keep it with me at all times in the purse Mother got me. She thinks. The purse I got from my mother was full of coins, but no gold coin can compare to my precious silver coin. Rika looks towards the Black Dragon Chamber. The Black Dragon Chamber next door is the Crown Prince's room. That reminds me I haven't met the Crown Prince yet. He wasn't at the wedding either. Bryn mentions. His Highness is at his feudal territory. Rika tilts her head. His feudal territory? Bryn explains. Yes, the Crown Prince of each generation has received feudal territory as part of his inheritance. Duke Rowan is the Crown Prince's feudal title, Rika says. I see. When do you think he'll return? Bryn replies. I'm not sure, but come to think of it, I think he should be arriving soon. Meanwhile, in the pouring rain, horses gallops through the forest. Someone says, Your Highness, please slow down. We haven't made a single stop on our journey. Everyone is very tired. Except Wolf. Wolf and another guard laugh rowdily. Ha 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 ha! The Crown Prince rides ahead. One of his guards calls out. Your Highness! How does it feel to be going home after half a year, Your Highness? You also have new family members now. The Crown Prince curtly replies. Shut up. Meanwhile Lyrica contemplates. The Crown Prince would be my big brother, right? But Crown Prince says darkly. They are not my family. Later Lyrica exclaims. Mother! I heard the Crown Prince will be arriving soon. Should we prepare a welcome party for him? I'd like to give him a warm welcome. Her mother pauses. For the Crown Prince? She thinks darkly. One of his personal guards tried to assassinate him recently, and I was going to keep him at a safe distance after putting a stop to that. Maybe a party is a good idea since I was thinking of being on good terms with the future emperor anyway, she says. Well, I don't know about a party. The Crown Prince is a rather picky eater. He doesn't touch anything unless it's from his close aides, she suggests. Let's do something else instead. We just need to show him how happy we are to meet him, right? Lyrica agrees. Right. Rika continues. I think we should. Have his room dusted and cleaned, arranged with vases full of flowers, and stacked with delicious treats too. Wouldn't that be nice? Then after he's well rested from his long journey, we can hold a small tea party and have tea all together. Lyrica thinks. Well, there's the age-old tale of the wicked stepmother and the mean stepsister, so His Highness might be feeling worried. Rika sits at her desk, writing a letter. Dear Your Highness the Crown Prince, hello? I am Your Highness's new cousin, Lyrica Van Nara Talker. Welcome home, Your Highness. I'd like for us to have a tea party in the garden. I'd be grateful if you would honor me with your presence. Goodbye. Later the Crown Prince reached at palace late night. A servant greets the Crown Prince. Your Highness, we didn't expect you to arrive at this hour. The Crown Prince replies coldly. Move. I'm tired. He shoves past the servant. He bursts into a room decorated with flowers and a teddy bear. His eyes narrow. His two guards look around, surprised. The Crown Prince surveys the room, all decorated for him. His subordinate asks, Wow, is this what you truly like, Your Highness? He throws his coat away and says, Shut up. His other aide exclaims, It smells great. They even put out a bunch of flowers too. Being in the north all this time, I didn't realize it was spring already. Wow, look at this girly handwriting. Reaching for the teddy bear, he says, I think your new little sister did this. He picks up the letter and started reading. Dear Your Highness the Crown Prince. Suddenly, the Crown Prince snatches the letter, and the hooded figure turns around. He reads the letter and smirks. Tell her I'll be there. He tosses the letter into the fireplace. One of his aide asks, This is the first time welcoming you home. Should we have a meal prepared for you or would you like to wash first? Neither. The prince replies coldly. His aide asks, Are you really going to accept the invitation? Yes, tell her I'm coming, he says, his face alight with anticipation as the fire blazes. I'm sure she'll get the idea after sitting under the sun for 3 to 4 hours, his aide remarks. Wow, you villain! His aide bows slightly as he leaves. I'm going to bed. Don't wake me before I get up. Before opening the door he asks, What is all this nonsense anyway? Saying that he slams the door shut. Bran says, He should be quite hungry though. Pai replies, I know. I'm so famished I could eat a horse. The Pai asks, More importantly, Bran, did you know about this? Bran responds, I only relayed the fact that we might be arriving around this time and that the Crown Prince likes sweets. Pai observes, These cookies aren't soggy, and the flowers are fresh, like they were just picked. We didn't even know what time we'd get here, so how did she time this so perfectly? He thinks in his mind, This isn't just the work of the princess. It's safe to say the Empress was involved as well. What kind of person is this Empress? We don't have enough information about her. I'll have to do some research tomorrow. He tastes some cookies. Oh, but these are really delicious. My stress is melting away. Then he wobbles thinking, I need to get some sleep first. I know His Highness can be paranoid, but I wish he'd stop making things so hard for his servants. I am not a wolf. Let's go and get some rest. Later that night, the little princess wakes up. She sits up in bed. Great. It's still dawn. I wonder if His Highness has arrived yet. Is the tea still warm? Should I replace the cookies? She pauses, then decides, If I go out through this door, I'll wake Bryn, so I'll use the servants' hall. They say if the master doesn't put in the effort, the underlings won't care either. I should be having the servants do this, but I can do things myself from time to time. She creeps down the hall and heard someone munching on a cookie. I think I can hear something. She opens the door and went in. She froze as she saw the Crown Prince nibbles on a cookie. The little princess gasps. The Crown Prince? She wonders. Why in the world is the Crown Prince here? Earlier that night, after nonchalantly retiring to his chamber earlier to sleep, but he was too hungry to go to sleep. He remembered there was food outside in the main hall, so he went out and ate one, and it was delicious. Meanwhile, the Crown Prince's eyes widen in shock. He thinks, What? Seriously? What is the meaning of this? Why did you come out of there so suddenly? He screams internally. Also, the little girl cries out, Aya! She thinks, It's His Highness. It's definitely His Highness. He looks exactly as I had imagined. She gasps, But look at me. I can't be meeting His Highness dressed like this. No, she bows quickly. I came to see if you needed any more cookies or tea. The Crown Prince is stunned. She's acting like a maid now? What kind of maid walks around the palace dressed like that? He grits his teeth. Seriously, why would she pop out of there at this time of night? Did she come here to see if I'd be foolish enough to eat the food of my enemy? Did she come creeping over here to take a gander at my folly? He rises to his feet. The little princess trembles in fear, bowing his head down. He picks up the tray and saw her shaking, then says, "Ha, seriously." She flinches as she heard that. He thinks, wait, did she just flinch because I sighed? If her neck is this red, what does her face look like? Is it bleeding? He raises a cookie to her mouth. Eat. She stutters. No, thank you. I'm fine. He insists. I said eat. She fumbles for a cookie. Okay then. And starts to munch. Just then Pai came and says, "Wow, look at the crown prince harassing a poor little girl. Well, here's your response to the princess's invitation. It says you'll be attending her little tea party." Upon hearing that, Lyrica gasps with joy. The crown prince stares down at her, a dark look on his face. She looks up at him, eyes wide. She stumbles back, covering her face. "Ah," the crown prince says coldly. "You may go now." The little princess bows. "Yes, your highness," and rushes out the door. She slams the door shut. The prince watches her go. Why did she go that way? Pai replies, maybe because she's a cute maid. It's her character. But the crown prince thinks, I don't think she's cute at all. Then he chomps down on another cookie. Back in her room, Bryn tells her, "Oh, your highness, a noble lady must take her personal maid with her even to secret meetings." But Lyrica points out, "But that wouldn't be a secret meeting then." The maid insists, "Well, that's how important a personal maid is to a noble lady." Lyrica smiles brightly. "All right. But more importantly, the crown prince said he'll come to my tea party." Bryn replies, "That's wonderful." Lyrica excitedly mentions, "I even met Bran too." Flashback to a hallway encounter. Bran says, "Your highness." Bran greets with a smile. Lyrica thinks to herself, "I'm caught," she says to Bryn. "He looked a lot like you, Bryn." She giggles. "But of course you're much prettier, Bryn," Bryn assures her. "Haha, I'd say so too." Lyrica, now bundled in a fluffy wrap, as Bryn washes her. Bryn says, "All right then. We'll have to start preparing for the tea party soon." "The tea party!" Lyrica exclaims, eyes sparkling. "The tea party." A flurry of activity ensues as preparations get underway. "Over there!" someone calls out. "Pull it a little more." The staff are told that the food should taste good even when it gets cold. Chef instructed, cut thin slices of peeled cucumbers and brine them with salt. Pat dry each slice one by one and place them on buttered bread for a fine delicacy. Whip the cream to stiff peaks. If you whip it too lightly to keep your arms from aching, it will never rise. Make sure it's thick enough to cling to the bowl when you hold it upside down. She sternly adds, "I don't want to see any of you doing things half-heartedly. The princess will be serving none other than the crown prince at this tea party." Later at the teapoy, Lyrica imagines the crown prince and practices. "Your highness, welcome," she says nervously. "I'm so delighted to be welcoming you today." Outside, staff continue to fuss over the details. "The sunlight is getting brighter, so we'll need some shade," one says. "How about we bend that branch to create some shade?" Other replies, "That's a great idea. We can tie a ribbon underneath with the parasol strings." Lyrica shows her teacups. "Aren't these teacups pretty? Mother sent them to me to celebrate our get-together, and if you look closely, you can see squirrels drawn on this one. Oh, that one has baby bears. Each cup has a different illustration, and it's quite fun to spot them." She continues imagining and practicing. "The tea is from Lord Sandar. It has a very delicious scent. The tea will have to stay warm under the shade. Let's put warmers on the teapots to keep the temperature." She continues, "This is roasted apples and caramel with rooibos tea, and that's a rose tea that smells great and has a beautiful rosy color. Those are tart raspberries poured over a thick, rich cream. And we even have some Earl Grey tea that smells like juicy, ripe peaches," she adds with a nervous smile. I'm so glad that we're siblings, Your Highness. I've always wanted to have a sibling, you see." Meanwhile, the staff continued to fret over the details. "I don't think the table mats match well with the tassels on the parasol," one complains. "Do you have anything else?" one servant says. "His Majesty said we can have access to the ice stores, so we should also serve some iced tea made with orange black tea and thinly sliced lemons. Everything must not be too overdone or undone, Your Highness, because this will be the princess's very first tea party." Lyrica continues, "So if you don't mind, I'd like for us to become close." Lyrica was ready, standing waiting with Bryn for the crown prince. She thinks in her mind, the weather at the end of May is so bright and sunny. The spring wind is warm and uplifting, and the rose buds are already in bloom. When His Highness gets here, I'll tell him all those things. But the crown prince doesn't come. The atmosphere shifts as time passes. The servants were anxious and nervous as time passes by. Lyrica calls her maid. Bryn, she replies. Yes, Your Highness? The princess asks. Do you think His Highness is late because he's busy with work? The maid responds. I'll send someone to find out, Your Highness. A messenger races and comes back to deliver the news. His Highness is in the Black Dragon chamber, and says he will be late. She asks, Is that all? The messenger bows. Yes, ma'am, Lyrica says. If he says he'll be late, I'll just have to wait. Tick, tock. The time continues to pass. Later Bryn tells her, Your Highness, a servant is here from the Black Dragon chamber. The servant informs, His Highness says he will be too busy to attend today. The servant gasps upon hearing that. Bryn quickly glances towards Lyrica, wondering, Your Highness. But Lyrica exclaims, Is he that busy? Even the messenger looks uncomfortable breaking the news. Pardon me? He replies. Yes, I believe so, Lyrica says. I see. Would you tell him not to feel too bad about it then? She smiles. He must be worried about keeping me waiting. Please tell him that I'm fine and that he mustn't worry. Then she says to Bryn, Oh, right. And will you give him some of these freshly baked treats? What do you think, Bryn? She replies. I think that's a marvelous idea. The messenger dashes off. Lyrica watches him go, a shadow falling over her sweet face. His Highness has a much higher position than I do, so it's natural for him to be busy with work. I'm just worried he might feel bad about me. While Bryn smiles at her, she thinks, If he really had no choice, either do I. Bryn thinks in her mind, but the crown prince might take her words differently. She imagines him interpreting her wrong. For would you tell him not to feel too bad about it then? He might take it. Hey, I'm holding back right now, you know. For please tell him that I'm fine, and that he mustn't worry. He might think, I'm not fine at all. He should definitely worry. For he must be worried about keeping me waiting. He will thinks, who stands up an 8-year-old girl? For so it's natural for him to be busy with work. I'm just worried he might feel bad about me. He will interpret, I know you're not busy at all. If you don't feel bad, you're a real scumbag, you hear? Bryn observes that the crown prince might take her words differently. That's how people interpret things in the palace. But the great thing about our princess is that she meant every word she said without the slightest bit of malice. Then Lyrica says, Bryn, let's enjoy the tea together. Isn't it a waste to just throw it away? Lyrica nods as she raises her hand and waves. She exclaims, Wow, they come with just a hand wave? Of course. A hand signal is all you will need to summon a servant, Bryn explains. But you should be careful when there are soldiers around. They may mistake it for an order to attack and strike at the wave of your hand. It's happened a few times historically, Lyrica replies. I see. Then noticing Bryn asks, By the way, Your Highness, are you sure you're all right? She replies, You know, Bryn, I feel bad for saying this, but I had a feeling this might happen. Bryn asks, Why would you think that? Lyrica replies, Whenever I go to His Majesty's study, he's always busy working. Lord Sandar would tell him, It's time for your appointment. But he responds, I'm too busy for that today. That's what His Majesty would say. Bryn says internally, But His Majesty is notorious for cancelling his appointments at the last minute. Lyrica says brightly, I understand what it's like to have a lot of work to do. Bryn gives a small, knowing smile. She says to Lyrica, I'm not surprised to hear you say that, Your Highness. Suddenly, they hear a voice calling out, Your Highness! Artie perks up. I hear a voice coming from the garden. Oh! She turns to the voice. It's Tan! Tan! She exclaims happily. Tan approaches with a charming smile. Oh, please don't get up. This is quite a spread you have here. But isn't it rare to have a tea party at this hour? Lyrica replies brightly. We were just enjoying the pretty sunset. She offers, Have some tea with us, Tan. We have more than enough tea and cookies to share. Tan replies, Don't mind if I do. Then he settled down to enjoy the tea. All of them smiles talking and enjoying tea. Later while walking, Tan says, Oh, that whipped cream is really good. It's always cold at the Wolf Manor, so it's hard to find cream. Lyrica asks, If it's cold, wouldn't that keep the cream from going bad? Tan explains, No. It's actually too cold for the cows to produce any milk. Oh, I see, Lyrica exclaims, wondering. How cold could it be then? Tan gives a knowing smile. He suddenly asks her, Are you really all right? Weren't you expecting another guest today? I hope you weren't too disappointed. She is taken aback by his question. Huh! She thinks to herself. Oh, so it wasn't a coincidence that Tan stopped by. She responds to Tan. No, I'm not disappointed. I just think that His Highness may have a warm heart. She grins cheerfully. He asks in disbelief. Come again? She replies. I know he tried to come see me. I'm sure he was just too busy. She continues. So he kept telling himself, just a little more, and I'm done, but he lost track of time because he was trying so hard to finish. Lyrica imagines the Crown Prince working diligently and says, Just picturing him saying just a little more while trying his best to finish his work makes me think he has a warm heart. Tan is touched. You think so? Then she says, You came to see if I was okay, didn't you? Thank you, Tan. I would have been sad if I was alone, but I have you and Bryn with me, so I'm fine. Tan thinks, so that's it. This little princess doesn't think anyone would actually try to do her harm. Even though her life has been full of obstacles and strife, she still believes in people. Tan replies, You don't have to thank me. After all, I got to skip some work and have some delicious treats. Besides, I came because I beat Lat in a game of rock, paper, scissors, she responds. You both could have joined us, though. Tan explains. Then who would stay behind to do the work? Lyrica says I should have sent Lat a basket too. Tan asks, A basket? She elaborates. Yes, I sent one to Prince Otto so he could have some snacks while working. But Tan realizes, normally, food is only given to people of lower rank by someone of higher status, though. Did Bryn Sol not tell her about that? Bryn can only smirk at Tan's realization, seeing that Tan burst out laughing. Well, I'm sure receiving a basket full of fresh baked goodies from a younger sibling is fine, but I wonder what the Crown Prince thought when he received it. Lyrica then says, There's one thing that I'm upset about. Mother will be disappointed to hear what happened, she thinks. Yes, I'm pretty sure about that. But I'm fine with it. He adds, I'm sure your mother will be fine with it as long as you are, Your Highness. Tan slams the door behind him, and took a sigh. I truly do hope Her Majesty the Empress doesn't have a problem with it. Later her mother is trying to cheer her up with gifts. Lyrica, I have a gift for you. And Lyrica's like, Wow. Lyrica gasps. It's so pretty, her mother says. I ordered it for you to help you feel better. She whispers. Don't worry, Rika. Otto will come to regret what he did. Lyrica's shocked. What? But she thinks, I don't really want him to regret anything. Then Bryn exclaims, My goodness, is that really Elzerk lace? Her mother confirms. Of course it is. She explains. This is lace from the Elzerk region. It was meticulously woven by master craftsmen, so it's quite expensive but equally as beautiful. The parasol details are insane. Even the shaft of the parasol is made of ivory, and the handle is made of gold. Bryn smiles. You could even say it costs as much as a fortress. Lyrica staggers with it, already struggling. It's too heavy. Still, she doesn't want to disappoint her mother. Mother, can I take it out for a walk right now? Her mother smiles. Yes, of course. Go try it out. Outside while taking a walk in the garden, Lyrica thinks, It's a bit lighter carrying it like this. She twirls the parasol and admires it. Look how it sparkles. How pretty. But the wind picks up. Suddenly, with the strong gust of wind, she went flying with parasol. Bryn shouts, Your Highness! Lyrica is swept off her feet. She slips and the parasol goes flying. Oh, no! She thinks. My fortress is flying away! She cries out. No! She rushes for it. Bryn is chasing after her. Your Highness! Please don't run! Lyrica's desperate. The parasol! My parasol! The parasol that my mother gave me! Lyrica makes a grab for it. I got, huh! But it's too late. She was flying away with the parasol. Bryn calls out, Your Highness! Lyrica is screaming. Help! Somebody! She bumps into something. Ouch! Ugh! And fell down. Just then someone asks, Did you fly here on a parasol and fall on the ground? She gasps. There's someone here? She apologizes. I'm so sorry. A handsome boy with white hair is lying next to her, looking up at her. He simply responds, He reaches out and takes her hand. Hi. And then he asks, patting her head, Are you all right? Lyrica is speechless. She scrambles back, flustered. Huh? Oh, yes. I'm fine. She thinks to herself, Who is this boy? Maybe not as much as mother, but I've never seen anyone so beautiful. He picks up her parasol, twirling it. The boy asks, Isn't this too heavy for you to be carrying around on your own? You should have one that's much lighter. Bryn approaches, panting. So he says, I see now. You must be the princess everyone is talking about. Then again, who else would be carrying around a parasol like this? He smiles. I thought you'd be an evil spoiled brat, but this is rather unexpected. Lyrica's shocked. Lyrica, you must stay composed. You are a princess, she quickly says. You shouldn't judge people you haven't met based on rumors alone, he replies. Yes, but gossiping and backbiting is so entertaining, wouldn't you say? Bryn interrupts. Lord Fjord, I suggest you mind your manners. You are in the presence of the imperial princess, he replies. Where are my manners? He curtsies. My name is Fjord Barat. I am the greatest masterpiece of House Barat. Then he smiles and asks, Is that better? Lyrica is completely stunned. She then says, I've never seen anyone bow so charmingly. Fjord tilts his head. Ha! Ha! He pauses, then says, Oh, you're telling the truth. Lyrica's eyes sparkle. Yes, because it is true, she thinks. His bow is more graceful than my etiquette teacher Madame Gwendolen's, Bryn's, or anyone else's curtsy in the palace. Lyrica thinks, I've never seen anything like it. She then asks, grabbing his hands, Will you teach me how to curtsy? Fjord pauses, then clears his throat. First of all, I'll need permission from the imperial family to teach you, Your Highness. How about you go and get permission first? Lyrica's shoulders slump. Oh, I see. I had no idea. I'm sorry. He smiles. Also, you can just call me Fjord. Lyrica whispers. Fjord. Fjord smiles back. It looks like my attempt to tease you isn't going to work. You should get going now. It won't do you any good if people find out you met a Barat here. Back inside, her mother asks, Lyrica, did you enjoy your walk? But she was dazed, so her mother wonders, What's gotten into her? Lyrica asks, Mother, do you know who Fjord Barat is? She thinks, I asked Bryn, but, she replied, I think that would be a tough question for me or your etiquette teacher to answer. Why don't you ask Her Majesty, Your Highness? Then her mother replies, Yes, of course I know him. I believe he's 12 years old by now. But why do you ask? Lyrica explains, dazed. I met him in the garden when he picked up my parasol for me. Her mother gets shocked. The garden of the Sun Palace? That's where you met Fjord Barat? The son of Duke Barat? Her mother thinks to herself. The head of House Barat is the leader of the noble faction that is standing in perfect opposition to the Emperor's faction. However, his ambitious flower of a wife is unsatisfied with just that and has been vying for the throne. If the crown prince dies, the descendant of House Barat would ascend the throne. On top of that, the crown prince's mother is of low birth, and other than the crown prince, House Talker has no living direct descendant. That's why before I am reborn, I thought it would be better to stand on the side of the noble faction to try to take down the crown prince, but Fjord Barat never even crossed my mind. Perhaps for good reason though, since that child will be dead in 3 years anyway. The noble faction has no chance of winning. Only Takars can use the power of the dragon. And when I think about the true identity of the current emperor, she remembers. I think of how I lost my baby and was burned at the stake in my previous life thanks to him. No. Rika was killed because of me. My stupid action sent me to the burning stake. That's why I didn't want to get involved with nobles or the imperial family in this life. I would have chosen anything else other than a contract marriage. But it was the only way to take advantage of my past life experiences as a noble lapdog. That's why that forgettable kid who's going to die in 3 years never crossed my mind. In fact, I'm more worried about Lady Barat, who will show up in a few years. She pipes up. Actually, why would the head of the noble faction's son be frolicking in the Sun Palace? Lyrica pulls her out of her thoughts. So, Fjord's bow was quite graceful. Would it be all right for him to teach me how to curtsy? Her mother replies. You want to learn how to curtsy from Fjord Barat? Isn't he a boy? She gets surprised. He is a boy. Lyrica whispers, blushing. But his bow looks just like a curtsy. Her mother is moved. Rika has never asked for anything before. She gave in. All right, I'll send a request to House Barat. Lyrica shouts. Really? Her mother thinks. They may be the political enemy of the crown prince, but the boy will die in 3 years anyway. Even if I have to live a humble life after the divorce, I should still develop a good network of friends. I could get stabbed in the back if I retire with nothing. In order to protect you, I'll use the crown of the Empress like a toy at my disposal. She hugs Rika tightly. How could I ever refuse a request from my Rika? And Mommy will be able to buy Rika whatever she wants soon. You see, Mommy's going to be very rich soon. Rika asks. You're going to be rich? Her mother confirms with a smile. Mem. I found a very promising investment partner. His name is Yuba, and he's looking for someone to invest in a field expedition. Rika asks quietly. An expedition? Her mother reassures her. Yes, he's known as a con artist by many, but he's actually very honest. Rika exclaims. What? Con artist, Rika whispers. So how much did you invest with him? Her mother replies lightly. Everything I have. Her mother giggles to herself, and Rika declares. I'm going to talk to this man myself. Her mother replies. All right, I'm sure he hasn't left the palace yet, so if you call for him now. Rika is already gone. Her mother calls from behind. Rika? After she dashed off, her mother reflects. Well, I'm sure he won't have a problem convincing her with that crafty tongue of his. His gift of gab does make him seem even more like a con artist, though. It's too bad Rika still doesn't seem to trust me, even after everything I've accomplished so far. Let's see. She pats her dress and muses. The bustle dress faction that I helped popularize and the traditional crinoline faction are in opposition in high society at the moment. But soon enough, the crinoline faction will be on its way out. After all, who would want to wear crinoline when people die from not being able to run away due to its girth? Soon, there will be a great fire in the opera house. Though I may have boosted its popularity for the time being as the Empress, after the fire, the bustle dress will become the new trend. Well, I guess there's no reason to let it all burn to the ground. As I achieve success after success, Lyrica will ever grow to trust your mother? Meanwhile, Rika is running. Bryn calls out. Your Highness, you mustn't run! Your Highness, the Imperial family walks and never runs. Lyrica replies in her mind. But Bryn, I'm not an Imperial family member right now. Shocking revelation. She thinks. My mother may say this, don't worry. Just trust Mommy. But that's all the more reason for me not to trust that fall con artist. I'll have to strike instantly so he doesn't have time to think. How dare he try to scam my mother out of all her money? She knows nothing about the ways of the world. Just then realizing, she stops running. The ways of the world. Does she really not know anything? It's true that mother suddenly changed at a certain point, and she's not at all like she used to be. Perhaps I am judging this person who I've never met before because I can't trust mother. Just then Bryn calls out. Oh, Your Highness! Over there! Yuba was escorted by a servant. They looks towards her. The servant greets her. It's an honor to meet you, Your Highness! Yuba exclaims. Ooh, this must be the rumored princess. He leans in and winks. It's lovely to meet you. Rika thinks to herself. Mother, this is clearly a con man. Meanwhile, Fjord Barad is relaxing under a tree. That rumored daughter of the villainess seems a lot like a robin. A bird lands on his finger as he smiles. Lyrica is not having it. This little firecracker just shouts. Are you Yuba? You con man! She realized, ops, I got so overexcited that I shouted what I was thinking. She quickly backpedals. Forget what I said just now. Yuba replies, yes, Your Highness. Lyrica confronts Yuba again, eyes narrowed. Are you Yuba? He replies, yes, I am. She demands, then states matter-of-factly. We need to talk. In her mind, this guy is the picture-perfect image of a con man, especially since her mother has agreed to invest with him. She says, I just heard that my mother agreed to invest with you. Yuba just smiles. Yes, that's right. She thinks. So you must have dazzled my mother with your wily charms. Her little red shoe stomps the ground as she declares. It's rumored that you're a con artist, so I'm sure you lied to my kind-hearted mother. She knows she's right. Way to go, Lyrica. She says. You better go to her right now and confess the truth. Internally she says, how is it? Can you feel the power of the princess? From Yuba's point of view, Lyrica is like his pet lamb from childhood. He recalls her stomping her feet whenever she got too mad. Arg, Yuba thinks. This is no time to be thinking about that. He says, please wait and see, Your Highness. I am not a con man. She growls. If you listen to my story, Yuba pleads, I'm sure you'll know I'm telling the truth. He clutches his hat, thinking, I've worked so hard for this investor. I can't lose her like this. Lyrica considers. Cutting him off without hearing his side of the story would be kind of harsh. She agrees. All right then, let's hear what you have to say first. She concedes, and Yuba visibly sighs in relief. However, she continues, would it be all right if we walk and talk in the garden? She thinks, even if he is a con man, she'd feel bad if she invited him inside only to kick him out. Yuba smiles. Of course. Thank you, Your Highness. Lyrica thinks. And if we're in the garden, it would be easier for me to run straight to Mother too. Yuba begins his story. I have traveled to the jungles and back 3 times. Meanwhile, her mother watches from the balcony, thinking about Yuba. Lyrica, that man. Yuba continues. In my first expedition, I lost all of my travel companions. Even though his first expedition was a disaster, he will soon become a legendary explorer. Lyrica looks up at him with wide, interested eyes. The size of the empire is vast, which means there are still many lands that have not been discovered. At one end of the empire, you'll find an unending stretch of deserts where criminals find refuge. At the other end, there is a sea of trees, filled with man-eating monsters. It is a mysterious land where a compass, constellations, and even the rising sun can't be used to navigate. It is a jungle, but you can find rare animal species, plants, and countless new things there, so being able to return from the jungle is a chance to become rich. That is why many have ventured into the jungles despite not knowing if they'll make it back, and most of them have gone missing. Therefore, these expeditions are impossible to take on without money, which makes investments from the nobility essential. So far, no one has supported that man because of his reputation as a con artist, but soon, he will return with astounding success. In my previous life, he received joint funding from commoners to become a famous explorer in a joint expedition, but that's neither here nor there. She sips her tea. Lyrica, she thinks, I pray you will trust your mother this time. Lyrica, hearing his story, tears up. Oh, I see. I had no idea and thought you were just another con artist. Yuba smiles gently. Thank you for shedding your tears for me, Your Highness. He looks intently at Lyrica. I hope you will take back what you said about me. I promise you that I will return. Lyrica says. Yes, I take it back. Both Bryn and the servant were skeptical. But this still sounds like a con. Also, Lyrica rummages in her pocket. She lifts a small, round object. I'd like to invest in you too. I don't have much though. She shows him a silver coin. Lyrica is beaming. This is the silver coin I used to pray with when I was dreaming of becoming rich in the slums. I prayed for my mother and I to escape the slums and live a happy life someday. Yuba get moved. I guess you must really believe in me. Lyrica grins. That's because you're telling the truth, right? Yuba recalls the nobles sneering. Aha, that was amusing. Are there any more lies you'd like to tell us? Try to make up something else, why don't you? You should really consider going into acting. Yuba ignores them and asks, but investing in me. But the nobles scorn him. What? They throws a coin at him. Take this for your entertaining story. He thinks. That's why I wasn't that excited when I heard the new empress had called for an audience with me. Someone told him. She asked for you because she heard of your storytelling skills. Yuba thinks. I'm sure she'll be just like the rest. She's not going to believe me, anyway. But then, the empress says, I believe you. I will invest everything I have in you. Looking at Lyrica, he thinks. I can see the resemblance. Like mother, like daughter. Yuba, back in the garden with Lyrica, kneels down and say, I swear to return successfully. Lyrica smiles. Well, don't forget to take care of yourself too. It doesn't matter what it takes, Yuba thinks. Lyrica drops a coin into his outstretched hands. I'll bet everything I have to keep my promise. Later, the emperor says, Hey, I heard you got scammed. Lyrica stomps her foot. Done, she retorts. Yuba isn't a con man. He grins. Well, whatever. Experiencing many things is good for you, he says with a smirk. She groans. No, it isn't. Then comes another jab. And I heard Otto stood you up. She quickly defends. I didn't get stood up. His Highness was just busy is all. He just stares, silent, a smirk playing on his lips. To tell you the truth, someone like you might be exactly what that boy needs. She gets confused. His Majesty continues. I'm saying Otto was acting like a fool. Lyrica asks. Are you concerned about something, Your Majesty? He rises. Concerned? Not at all. He steps up and pokes her forehead. She stands her ground shaking. Then in her mind she thinks, I won. The king presses her head affectionately, but she visibly trembles. Then the emperor says, I thought this would be the perfect way to kill time, but everything has been getting more interesting, so maybe I was wrong. As Lyrica stood confused, he says, Never mind, the timing is perfect. She asks him, What does all that mean? Just then someone knocks at the door. Otto came in holding a document. She greets him, Hello, Your Majesty. But he ignores her and went straight to the emperor. I brought the report you requested. The emperor throws a basket at him, so he catches it. He asks, What is this? The emperor says, Take that, and bring her out to the lake for a boat ride. Lyrica was surprised, so did the prince. The crown prince looks taken aback. Is that an order? With a sinister smirk, the emperor replies, I guess you could say that. The crown prince sadly says, All right then. As they walk to the lake, Lyrica asks, Would you like me to carry the basket? He replies, It's fine. She thinks, I know the crown prince had no choice but to take me because his majesty had given out an order, but maybe I could use this chance to get close to him. This is great. At the lake she exclaims, Wow, look at that. The lake is so beautiful. This is my first time coming here, she says excitedly. I didn't know there was a lake here. Where do you think it comes from and where does it go? Wow. Is that an island in the middle? And there's even a small building on it. Reaching the boat, Diane beams. Otto extends his hand towards her, so she could get on. She sat down on boat and exclaims, Oh, I've never been on a boat before. So this is what it feels like. As the crown prince rose, she is in awe. Just then she says, Just to be clear, I didn't ask His Majesty to make you do this. He responds, I know. The crown prince's inner thoughts are a mess. Of course, you wouldn't ask to see me after the way I stood you up. This is incredibly awkward. The crown prince continues rowing. This isn't as bad as I thought, though. He notices she is really chatty. She won't stop talking, but maybe it's not that bad because we're outside. How should I put this? I don't remember how long it's been since I heard a voice like hers. Lyrica calls out, Your Highness. The crown prince is lost for words. I don't know how to respond to her. She continues, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I've always wanted to have a brother. Upon hearing that, Otto thinks, her voice sounds so honest, and so does her face. She adds, That's why I was so happy when I found out you and I were going to be related. She realizes, I just said the same thing differently. She says, I don't know how you'd feel about this, but I'd like us to be good friends. Is that all right? The crown prince is taken aback. No one has ever told me that they wanted to be my friend like this to my face. Is that even something you're supposed to say to a crown prince? Did this kid fall from the stars? Did she come from a completely different world or something? He looks at her. Oh, her eyes are so blue. They're like the oceans I've seen abroad. He asks her, We're related. He tells her, My father had many brothers and sisters. There were 6 in total. However, by the time father ascended the throne, he was all alone. My father had many brothers and sisters, 6 in total. However, by the time father ascended the throne, he was all alone. She asks, Did all of his siblings pass away? Otto replies, Yes, that's life for the imperial family. He told her, I was 7 years old when I had my first taste of poison. I was rolling around on the floor in gut-wrenching agony as I vomited blood. Even on his deathbed, my father said that we are the descendants of the dragon forged by fire and air. He said it was something I had to overcome. Collapsing over something like that in the middle of a power struggle will only get you devoured. Lyrica replies, That must have been incredibly sad. He blinks in disbelief. Would you look at that? No one has ever said anything like this to me before. He recalls the other people's word. That is why you must stay strong, Your Highness. Otto, you must get stronger. Trust your uncle. You have to remain strong, Your Highness. He thinks, All my life, I had seen nothing but power plays that were meant to prune out who would be the most powerful one on top. Even the way my uncle looks at me with those cold eyes makes me think he'll one day. Then he says, Well, of course. I'm sure he was sad. Just then Lyrica says, I won't die though. Surprised, Otto asks, What? She replies, I'm not gonna die like your father and brothers. I'm not going to do anything to make you sad. So don't you worry. He looks at her stunned for a moment, then chuckles. Then are you always going to take my side? She replies. Of course. Isn't that what siblings are for? He laughs, then adds, I don't really believe people when they say things like that. Did you know that I didn't even cry at my father's funeral? That's what it means to be an imperial family member. Power has a way of changing people like that, she replies, but everyone needs to hear these things. Even I know that. He gets intrigued. She continues, words like whenever and always may just be words, and they may sound empty and can't be trusted, but I still need to hear them. And I really do believe that. After hearing that, Otto thinks in his mind and concludes, this kid is seriously stupid. I heard she had lived a hard life in the slums, but how can her mind be this flowery? I'm supposed to brush off people like you out of annoyance, but the look on your face and the sound of your voice make you seem like you're from a dream world. Later they went to the small building beside the lake. Just then a guard approached. Your Highness, Otto says. Ruan, the guard says. You mustn't wander around by yourself. Otto replies, well, these were His Majesty's orders, and you know he's always so spontaneous. Then he introduced him to her. Ruan is my personal guard. Lyrica begins. Nice to meet, but her instincts screamed, sensing danger from Ruan. Ruan greets. It's an honor to meet you, Your Highness. My name is Ruan Gray. At that moment sirens started sounding in her head. She reflects. I have always been a good judge of people. I believe I was able to survive the slums because of my quick senses. But a deep unease settles in. Who is this guy? I'm getting a really bad feeling about him. I know he's going to hurt us. Chills run down her spine. She asks, her voice barely a whisper. How did you know we were here? He replies. I asked one of the servants. Otto was busy shuffling through things. She gasps. As Ruan was about to pull his sword, she calls out, Prince Otto, and runs towards him, pushing him away. Otto thinks in his mind, I knew it. She had to put up with all my whining and grumbling. Now look at what's happened. I was right though. All humans are the same. Maybe that's actually comforting. They tumble to the ground, the situation spiraling out of control. Ruan says, Oh dear. He looms over them, sword raised. Otto questions, Why? He replies smiling. I've been serving Your Highness for 8 years for this very moment. For the sake of everything we've been through, I wanted to send you off without letting you know. Otto thinks, so this is the end. Then a stark reminder hit him. Don't forget, our ancestors were the soaring dragons, forged out of fire and air. Voices echoes. You must get stronger, Otto. Look over there. The crown prince isn't crying at his own father's funeral, whispers one woman. I know he's a talker, but that's so heartless, replies another. I must become stronger, he thinks. But father, what must I do in times like this? How am I supposed to fight off a grown man wielding a sword? I'm only a 12-year-old boy who hasn't yet realized his Takarian powers yet. He questions Ruan. How could you? He clutches the Lyrica tightly. That's because he's a villain, she cries. Otto flinches. Then Lyrica cursed him. You traitor, you evil man. I bet you think you have a good reason for doing this. You're the worst. Do you have no shame in killing a child? He sneers. How did such a vulgar little girl become a princess? I suppose it's fitting for an emperor of questionable birth, and that man having control of the empire is the problem. Now, the empire will have a new. Before he can finish, Otto grabs a wine bottle and flings it with full force on Ruan's head. Then Otto pulls her away running. They sprint together, dashing through the forest, their escape desperate. He remembers. I was 7 years old when I drank poison for the first time. When I came to, there were only servants by my side. And when the time came for them to go home, I was left all alone. My uncle said he was glad that I survived, but he didn't come see me. All I had were my servants and visitors rushing around me occasionally. I know my servants would be sad if I were to die, but they could return to their families and find comfort from their grief. Eventually, they would find another master to serve. If I die, my uncle would sire a son and make him the crown prince instead. And why is that? Because I'm replaceable. He questions himself. But why just me? Everyone has a special person in their life, but I'm not special to anyone. The people who used to love me are already gone. He retches, consumed by grief and loneliness. No one loves me, and I love no one. I have no attachments, and that makes me stronger than anyone. That's how I can be strong. He remembers his father's words and clenches his fist. He was running from Ron holding Lyrica's hand. I am the descendant of dragons forged out of fire and air. Sweat streamed down Otto's face. Just then Lyrica's foot twisted and she fell down. Even if I can't use my powers yet, that will never change, so it doesn't matter. I know I will become stronger even without the powers of a dragon. I'll be stronger, once I'm wearing the Emperor's crown and sitting on the highest seat in the Empire. Otto lifts her up, a renewed resolve hardening his gaze. He thinks words like, forever my side together, and near, mean nothing to me. I don't need them. I don't need anyone. They're all useless to me. I need nothing. Just then Ruan catches up to them and grabs her by her hair. Lyrica tells him to go. He is shocked. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He recalls her saying, I'd like us to be good friends. Is that all right? But the knight only smiles coldly. You insolent little brat, he thinks. I thought I didn't need her, then what am I doing? His hand holding a stick shakes. He recalls her word. That's because he's a villain. The boy is conflicted. I know that I'm acting like an idiot, and that she's just a stupid, annoying little girl. He was trembling to face him. Ruan smirks. He screams, Why? Then a shadowy figure appeared in the sky, and everything goes dark. After that, he thought the world had come to an end because a great darkness descended. All happened in the blink of a moment. The next moment he opens his eyes, he gasps. Ruan was lying on the ground covered in blood. Then, a voice cuts through the dark. You both look fine. It's him, standing over them both. He was covering Lyrica's face. Your Majesty, he whispers. Otto is stunned, and it looks like realization is dawning on him. Oh, how did he know where to find us? It can't be. Did he know all along? Otto questions the Emperor. Were you using me as bait? The Emperor tilts his head, his expressions unreadable. Otto wonders, what does that expression on his face mean? Is that the kind of look he should be giving his nephew who almost got killed? The Emperor replies, not exactly. Otto thinks, is he even human? Just then Lyrica spoke. No! How could you? She flails. The little girl is furious, tears streaming down her face. He deserves a better answer than that. Show a little more sincerity. Please tell us the truth. Were you using us as bait? If you were, that would be incredibly sad and upsetting, but at least tell us why you did it. Otherwise, it's too confusing. But I still really hate that you answered him like that. She is panting, out of breath. The man is watching them both, not saying anything. Otto thinks, that was incredible. Just then someone answers. No, it wasn't. He gasps, his eyes wide with surprise. The Emperor says, I really wasn't trying to use you as bait. The picnic was really a spontaneous decision. I came because your mother found out and suddenly made a fuss. And as I was trying to find you, I found out that Otto was in danger, so that's why I rushed over here. Your mother is on her way over too. Oh, you probably can't see her, but I can see her getting on a boat. A trickle of tears runs down Lyrica's face. She cries, Hick, HNNG, wah. Otto is alarmed. Is she hurt? Did Ruan grab her too hard? Lyrica buries her face Otto's chest, sobbing. Wah. HNNG. I was so scared. That was so scary. Hick, I'm so relieved. Lyrica! The Empress's voice rings out. Otto realizes. It's the Empress! My goodness, Lyrica! My Rika! She cries, rushing towards them. Otto, frowning, observes Lyrica cling to him. Hey, shouldn't you go to your mother? The Emperor, however, assures him. They're both fine. The Empress embraces Otto and Lyrica tightly, relieved. I'm so glad you're not hurt, she exclaims, hugging them both. I'm so very glad you're safe. I really am, she whispers, still holding them close. Kids, are you sure you're both all right? The Emperor watches, annoyed. I'm the one that saved them, so why don't I get a hug? He grumbles. She scolds him. This isn't the time for you to be joking, the Empress declares. This place is too traumatizing for the children. We must leave at once. A dark image flashes, a sword stained with blood, the ominous silhouette of the temple. Back on the boat, Lyrica sniffs and sobs, still clinging to Otto. He says, looking distraught, I thought you said you weren't gonna die. She clutches him close and promises, I won't die ever. Upon hearing that, he grins. Later, inside the palace, the Empress holds her daughter close, calming her down. Then in the Emperor's office they discussed. Otto stands before her, serious. There must be someone behind Ruan, he muses. The Emperor addresses them both. We will begin an investigation, and I'm sure you've learned a lot from this incident, so always be on your guard, he says to Adil. Since you're not hurt, you should go to your room and get some rest. But the Empress cuts him off. Wait, hang on a second, she adds. I know I have my shortcomings when it comes to raising children, but, she thinks to herself, I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't say anything because I was mad at Otto for standing Rika up. And I know I have no right to be saying this, but if I had warned him, Rika wouldn't have been attacked. That's why it always pays to be kind. But even I'm not as bad as this man. She turns to the Emperor, accusingly. Is that all you can say to the boy? No wonder he has trust issues. The Emperor is confused. What? He asks. Don't what me? The Empress snaps, repeating his earlier words. I'm sure you've learned a lot from this incident, so always be on your guard. Is that all you have to say to him now? Just because you have trust issues doesn't mean you have to teach him the same thing. Otto gasps, seeing the Emperor get scolded, a strange feeling washing over him. What is this refreshing feeling? The Emperor gets enraged. How dare you? He begins, but the Empress cuts him off. Wait, didn't we promise we wouldn't fight in front of the children? The Empress calls out. Adil, then tells him, you'll have my full support until the day you become Emperor. Adil is stunned, she declares. I have no intention of making a baby with His Majesty, and it may seem like Altair doesn't care much about you, but he will put you on the throne someday. I know he's thinking of doing at least that. He scoffs. What is at least supposed to mean? The Empress clears her throat. Ahem! I'm not finished, she says, turning to Adil. Whether you believe it or not, I'm telling you the truth. The Emperor huffs. Ha! And you were judging me for the way I was talking to him? Adil is silent for a moment. Are you saying you never tried to have me assassinated? He asks, his heterochromatic eyes wide with shock. The Emperor, however, remains impassive, tilting his head slightly. Aha! Adil exclaims, realizing something. The Emperor responds calmly. Of course not. Why would I do that? Adil observes. He has the same expression as before, like he has no idea what I'm talking about. The tension is palpable. The Emperor asks, shall we continue what we were talking about? You think I have trust issues? How dare you say something like that when you hardly know anything? He leans in close. The Empress replies. Well, what do you think I don't know about you? He grabs her face, pulling her close and leaving her speechless. There is one thing I'm sure I know about you, though. The door creaks open, then slams shut. Atul slides down the door, his face buried in his hands. It can't be. How? He imagined all of them to be cunning and scheming, but the reality turned out to be different. How tedious. The Emperor thinks in his portrait. The Empress' portrait proclaims, we're equal. Lyrica's portrait is screaming and crying. Atul looks up, his eyes shadowed with a dawning realization. He sweats and his eyes widen. Was all in my head? So, it turns out all of this time, everything that happened to him was all in his head? He looks completely shocked. Then a servant calls out, Your Highness! The maid appears and tells him, Princess Lyrica is looking for you. In Lyrica's room, she's sitting in bed looking pensive. Someone knocks at the door. It's Adil. Her eyes widen. A huge smile spreads across her face. Adil asks, What, you can't fall asleep? He walks towards her. If you can't sleep because of something like this, actually, I guess it is possible to lose sleep over something like that. He asks, So what do you want? I'm told you were looking for me. Lyrica, peeking out from the covers, whispers, I wanted to ask if we could sleep together. I'm scared. Adil just stares at her for a long moment, then sighs. Happy now? He asks, slipping in the blanket. Lyrica beams. Yes. Tucked into bed together, Lyrica giggles. Adil asks her, What are you so happy about? She replies, Sleeping together like this. I always wanted to try this with a sibling. Adil thinks about her word, a sibling? He reaches out and pats her head gently. She beams. Then she asks softly, Weren't you scared, Your Highness? Lyrica told him, I was so scared. I don't think I'll ever forget it. A shoe shiner I used to know once told me that the worst people are the ones who do bad things and don't think that what they're doing is bad. Is that why you called him a villain? Adil asks. You could have really gotten yourself killed, Lyrica replies. But you could have run away when the man grabbed me, but you didn't, he replies. I'm used to things like that. It's happened to me 4 times already. Lyrica gets shocked. What? He's internally reeling, thinking to himself that was another unexpected reaction. He thought His Majesty knew all along but wasn't doing anything about it. He thought he was being used like a pawn in chess. He didn't think he cared whether he lived or died. But, he recalls the Emperor saying, "What are you talking about? You think I'd do something so tedious?" He continues, rambling, "I really don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not interested, and I don't even want to hear about it. It's boring as it is. Being emperor is boring, and I have no choice but to act the part. All this is so tedious." He realizes that expression on his face really mean he didn't know what I was talking about. On top of that, I heard my heartless uncle's conversation with my aunt. The nobles would have been so shocked to see it. I saw a side of uncle I couldn't even imagine. Back in bed, Lyrica says, "I think I'd still be scared even if it happened a fourth time." Otto, squeezing her hand, says, "I felt more betrayed than scared." He thinks in his mind, "Why would Ron decide to do something like that now? He's served me since I was very young." Otto, holding her hand tightly, tells her, "I won't let go of your hand, so go to sleep." He thinks, he could have attacked me at any time, so why now? The only changes have been this kid and the Empress. Lyrica drifts off to sleep. The 8 years he spent serving me was all a lie. I wonder what was going through his head whenever he looked at me. Was he imagining how he'd chop me up to serve up to his real master when given the order? A voice booms. "That is why you must become stronger, Your Highness. You mustn't show any weakness." Another flashback. "The Crown Prince's mother is of lowly birth. You must become stronger, Otto. Without the Crown Prince, Lord Fjord will ascend to the throne." Lyrica's voice echoes. "I will always be on your side, Your Highness." Otto is lying awake in bed. "Lies," he whispers. It's no use hearing such words now. He buries his face in his hands. "Otto, you must stay strong. Stay alive if you want to be happy someday." He remembers the words of his father, who is sitting on his deathbed. "You must live a happy life, Otto. I know how hard your future is going to be, but now I must close my eyes for good without leaving anything behind for you. But don't forget, Otto, our ancestors were dragons who soared through the skies, forged from fire and air. They were the strongest and most beautiful creatures in the world. Do not forget your roots, and trust your uncle whenever you are in need." At that time, Otto thought, "No, father, I can't trust a man I've only just met," his father says. "I'm sorry," Otto urges. "Please don't go, father. Don't leave me all alone. Please don't leave me alone in this world. Don't leave me with these animals who will try to tear me apart if I show the slightest sign of weakness. Please, Dad." The somber bells chime, marking a prince now an orphan. Whispers ripple through the crowd. "Did you see how he didn't shed a single tear?" Otto, now a young man, stands alone, surrounded by those who would tear him down. But he vows, "I'm going to become strong. Like you said, I will become strong, father, and I will survive. But now I'll be alone forever." But then he remembers Lyrica's word, "I will never die." Otto responds, "I don't need anyone on my side." Again Lyrica says, "I'll always be on your side, Your Highness. Isn't that what siblings are for? That's what family is for." We see Otto lying in bed next to Lyrica as she sleeps. Tears steams down his face. Even though we're strangers who share no blood, or rather, because of that, we may be able to love each other, and maybe even become a real family. Looking down at Lyrica, Otto thinks, "Oh, look at this soft little face. I guess there's no other choice but to protect her now." He smiles as tears well up in his eyes. Family is irreplaceable, and it's always there for you. Otto lays next to Lyrica, his thoughts drifting. The real world was the same as it was yesterday. But why am I starting to feel optimistic that everything is going to be fine from now on? As my mind drifts, the sound of her breathing reminds me of ocean waves, and even her eyes are like oceans that shine like emeralds. If I fall into those massive waves, I'm sure no one will notice me shedding a couple of teardrops in that ocean. Oh, I've never drifted off to sleep this easily before. I guess I can cry now, right? If I'm in this ocean, I don't have to be so strong, right? As long as I'm next to you." And they both drift off to sleep. The next day, Lyrica and Otto went to her mother's chambers. But Lat told them, His Majesty and Her Highness are still holding their meeting, while having breakfast in bed. Lyrica, surprised, asks, "Really? It's been a long time already." She questions, "If it's taking them so long, it would be better for Lat to join the meeting instead of Mother." The little princess exclaims. Lat gasps, I would never take part in that meeting. Then he says, so you can get some rest for now, and you don't have to come back to His Majesty's office anytime soon. While walking back, Lyrica wonders, is Mother really all right? Otto replies, she could be physically exhausted, but I'm sure Uncle wouldn't go too far. Lyrica wonders, but I don't understand why His Majesty and Mother are having such a long talk about the assassin. Otto reassures him, you're getting worried about nothing. Just then Pai calls out from behind, Your Highness. They're greeted by Pai and Bran Soul, who asks, what are you talking about after making us wait for so long? Lyrica chimes in, oh, I've seen him before. Otto introduces them. Pai, this is Lyrica. Lyrica, this is Pai. Silence. Then Pai says, do you know you look like His Majesty whenever you do that? Otto is clearly taken aback. What? Pai quickly recovers, offering a formal greeting to Lyrica. It's an honor to meet the esteemed Nara Tucker. I hope your name shines as bright as the stars in the future. He then introduces himself. I am Pai of House Sandar, but you can just call me Pai. Lyrica is smitten. Wow, he's so classy. Royal protocol dictates members of the imperial family have two names, a first name for friends and a second for the general public. This is a very CLSSY greeting where one person states the other person's second name. But Madame Glendolyn told me that we just use our first names now. Lyrica declares, nice to meet you, Pai of House Sandar. My name is Lyrica. He responds smoothly, Your Highness honors me by introducing your first name. Pai then introduces Bran Soul. This is Bran Soul, but you already know him, don't you? Bran greets her. It's an honor to meet you, Your Highness. Lyrica thinks, he's Bran's older brother who I've seen before. Apparently, House Soul isn't nobility, so they can't introduce their family name to the imperial family. But what's interesting is that there isn't a single imperial that doesn't know the Soul name. This is my personal maid, Bryn Soul. She's a very important friend of mine, Lyrica announces. Bryn happily greets them. It's an honor to meet you, Your Highness. Otto's eye twitches. Friend? But she's just a soul. Suddenly, Otto grabs Lyrica's hand, yanking her away. Clomp, clomp, clomp. The others follow. Just then Otto asks, Hey, I heard you invested in a con man. Lyrica repeats, A con man? He says, Yes, I think his name was Yuba. Her Highness gave him a sizable investment. Rumors say he's quite the con artist. Lyrica interrupts. He's not a con artist. Otto is shocked. What? Lyrica defends Yuba. Yuba is not a con artist. He's a good man. He scoffs. That's what all con men say. I'm telling you it's not true. You'd know if you spoke to him. Lyrica insists, but Otto's having none of it. He's completely fooled her, he thinks darkly. It's always a gamble to enter the jungle, so how can he guarantee 100% that he'll come back alive? Otto argues. The fact that he's claiming he will makes him a con artist. Lyrica retorts. No, Yuba is just very experienced. Others besides them gets nervous and anxious. Otto sighs. What am I gonna do with you? Do you think the world is full of nothing but good people? I'm sure he's just like any other con man. He mutters. Well, if you're gonna be so stubborn, what are you going to do later? He asks. About what? Lyrica asks, confused. He exclaims. I mean, if he turns out to be a real con artist. Pai and Bran try to intervene. Why are you two fighting about that man? He's right. I don't think this is something worth fighting about. Otto is resolute. If he turns out to be a real con man, you must get my permission before you invest in anything else in the future. Lyrica, annoyed, says, Fine, but if you're wrong about him, you can't say that the people I trust are crooks ever again. Otto agrees. Deal. Otto thinks, we'll go our separate ways now that we've had a spat, right? Goodness. But Lyrica grabs his hand, suggesting, that's that and this is this. Otto thinks, oh, I see. It seems bickering with Lyrica isn't so bad after all. It's totally fine. Lyrica suddenly asks, By the way, I have a question. Do you really have feudal lands? What are they like? Otto grins and replies, I do, but the weather there gets so cold that it's hard to grow any crops. Pai interjects, Well, it is up north, after all. Wheat can't grow in cold climates, so it might help to grow a different crop. Lyrica then asks, Is the soil bad? Otto thinks, Pai answers, It doesn't get as freezing cold as the lands of House Inlo, but I wouldn't say that the land is that fertile either. Otto is determined. I have to prove myself as a future emperor by cultivating such desolate lands. Lyrica shivers. I wonder how cold it gets there. She recalls. When I walked in the snow with my bare feet before, it felt like I was stepping on fiery blades. I could stand the summer heat, but the cold was terrifying. I was scared my nose or my toes would fall off from the cold. Otto notes. Still, it's very beautiful in the summer. Pi adds. The birch tree forest is especially charming. And he exclaims, there are blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. It's a total berry paradise. She is taken aback. Wow! We often pick plenty of berries to make jam and syrup, and there's no end in sight after you start picking. Pi explains. Oh, we also gather a lot of honey and nuts. Even the bears can't get enough of them. Lyrica is enthralled. That sounds so amazing! I've tried raspberry jam before. It was sweet, and the way it shined was just like a gemstone. Adel, ever the realist, has to burst her bubble. That's because raspberries aren't that sweet, so it has to be boiled with sugar. Lyrica insists. It was still yummy. And then she says, I'd like to pick buckets full of them too, and see bears munching on berries. Just then a thought struck his mind and he strides off holding her arm. She calls out confused. Your Highness? She calls out confused. Your Highness? Where are you going? The others follows. Then Otto lifts her up saying, Ugh, you're so slow. He lifts Lyrica into his arms. She wonders, is this déjà vu? This feels so familiar. Otto is literally carrying our little princess again. She says, but I'm heavy. Otto retorts, no, you're not. You're much lighter than a foal. A foal? She's internally screaming. That's what he's comparing me to. All right, we're here. Otto tells her as they arrive at their destination. Her eyes widen in excitement. They were in front of a huge vined wall. She asks, a wall? Otto replies, no. Then Pi began, Your Highness, this is... He whispers to Otto, are you sure about this? Lyrica was wondering. Are we supposed to climb over with these vines? Otto sighs, looking like he already knows the answer. It'll be fine, he says to himself as he reaches for something. Suddenly, there's a door. Her eyes widen. There's a door? He pushes the vines aside and opens the door with a key. The little princess gasps, her eyes wide with wonder. What is this place? She wonders as she takes in the sights. Her hands fly up to her cheeks, completely mesmerized. Raspberries. There are berries here, she exclaims, seeing a bush full of ripe raspberries. And here too. Is this a raspberry field? Where in the world? She wonders, looking around at the idyllic scene. Otto tells her, only pick the ones that are ripe. Where are we? What is this place? She asks. Otto smirks at her excitement. Don't you want to pick raspberries? Her face lights up. I do, she shouts, eager to start picking. Wow, she whispers, completely enchanted by the raspberry field. She runs and Bryn follows her. Bryn tells her, I'll hold them for you. Then Pi and Bran chime in. We'll help too. So they all pick raspberries together. Otto watches her with a soft gaze, then walks towards a swing. He imagines a woman sitting on the swing. He recalls his father and mother at the swing. They were happy together. Otto closes his eyes, a small smile playing on his lips. It really will be okay, he thinks to himself. He holds out a golden key to Lyrica. You can have this now. She looks up at him, surprised. Really? Are you sure I can take it? He smiles. Here. Pi was shocked. Your Highness, this is... Lyrica says. I'll use it, but Your Highness will still be the owner. He replies, but I said you can have it. She responds. Okay then. But the little princess insists. We'll have joint ownership. Otto shrugs. Suit yourself, he says, clearly not caring. I'll be leaving anyway, so it doesn't make sense for me to have it to myself. He stops, seemingly annoyed. But why are you still calling me Your Highness? He looks down at her with a mixture of exasperation and affection. She tilts her head, confused. Then what else would I call you? She's so cute. Huh? What's he saying? She wonders. Oh. She realized it can't be. Otto sighs dramatically. Do you have to make me say it? He's getting flustered. I thought you said we're family. Otto looks at her expectantly, waiting for her to understand. She clutches at him close. He grins and she giggles. He's smiling. She calls him Otto. She giggles, finally understanding. Her face is beaming as she hugs him back tightly. And just like that, they're off to another part of the palace. Oh, Tada! Cake time! Lyrica's eyes sparkle as she holds her dessert. Yum! Sitting across from her, Pi remarks. Your Highness, you look like you're really enjoying it. Lyrica is visibly taken aback by this comment, thinking, Huh! Did I do something wrong? Did I break etiquette? He replies, No, you just looked so happy was all. Just then Pai shuts himself, remembering, You fool, how could you tell Her Highness you looked so happy? My goodness, a noble would have surely taken that as a slight. I really shouldn't have said that. But I couldn't help it because she really looked so happy. Lyrica says, Anyone would feel happy eating something so delicious. Pai agrees, that's right. Otto continues to analyze her. Luckily, Her Highness doesn't twist people's words, and takes them at face value. Otto and others were also present there. Pai thinks, I don't have to worry about how she's going to interpret my words or who she might tell, and she doesn't seem like she's trying to find my weaknesses. It's nice not having to think about these things with her. He apologizes. I'm sorry, Your Highness. Please forgive what I said. She responds. It's fine. I shouldn't have asked if I had broken etiquette. She thinks in her mind, a real princess wouldn't have had to ask something like that. Pai replies, Not at all. It was entirely my fault for saying that. I didn't mean to sound so casual. Just then her cup was empty, she says. Oh, well then I'll forgive you if you give me a berry. Her eyes sparkle. Pai replies, I'll give you two. He pours more berries into her cup, thinking, coming up with an excuse. She wonders, Otto? Otto says, Consider it in advance for all the times I'll ask for your forgiveness. Bryn, Pai and Bran completely oblivious to the implications. What is that supposed to mean? One of Otto's companions sighs. His Highness may be a handful, but please understand his intentions. He then piles more berries into Lyrica's cup. Otto questions him. Who are you to be making a request on my behalf? Her cup was fully piled up. She turns to Bryn and says, Bryn, I'll give you half because I'm sure I'll need a lot of your help in the future. They giggle and laugh. Pai, who was concerned about the secret garden, says, I didn't think I'd ever go back to that garden. Otto says, Oh, right. Pai adds, Her Highness may not know what that garden means to you, but I can imagine how well she'll care for and tend to that place. Otto's eyes narrow as he recalls the past. The late Empress was of lowly birth, and because she was unable to overcome the constant condemnation of the clergy and the ostracization of high society, the Emperor built her a rustic cabin on the palace grounds. She sequestered herself there and refused to step out into the world. That may be what people thought, but whether or not it was the right decision for an imperial family member to make, that place could have been her own little paradise. Back in the present, Otto watches Lyrica. I think she'll take care of it too. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Fjord's mother says, That lowly creature of an empress, who wanted you to teach the princess how to curtsy, has sent you a letter. Only an uneducated commoner would ask a boy to be a curtsy instructor. However, they do bear the talker name, so it wouldn't hurt to build a connection. Take this chance to go and witness how lowly and vile those creatures are. Lord Fjord remembers Lyrica asking, Lord Fjord, would you like to be my curtsy instructor? He smirks. Yes, mother. Later a servant informed the Empress / Your Majesty, Princess Lyrica is here to see you, and she makes her entrance with a burst of sunshine. Mother! Lyrica is here to see her mother, but the Empress is looking exhausted. Déjà vu again? Little Lyrica notices right away, oh my goodness. She looks worse than the last time I saw her. Her mother asks, How have you been? Lyrica thinks the meetings must have been so hard on her. Lyrica asks, so concerned, Are you all right? Her mother replies, Yes, I'm just a little tired. Lyrica observes, but even so, her skin is strangely glowing, and her cheeks are so rosy. She may look different from usual, but she's still incredibly beautiful. Her mother asks, Mommy looks terrible, doesn't she? She replies, Not at all. She denies it immediately, but wait. Lyrica squints, examining her mother's face closely. She asks, Mother, are those bug bites? Her mother flushes, hand flying to her face. Oh no! Aren't they itchy? There must be a bug in the room, Lyrica exclaims, looking around frantically. Oh, there isn't! No, no! Mommy's fine, she says, a little too quickly. Lyrica insists. But they look really red, her mother shrieks. I'm really all right. Lyrica thinks, oh, mother, why is she so embarrassed about a bug bite? That's why I always need to protect her, she says, clearing her throat. We got a response from House Barat. She changed the subject. Lyrica wonders House Barat is. She remembers Fjord saying, You can just call me Fjord. Her mother told her. Fjord Barat says he will gladly come teach you. But are you sure you're all right with that? Really? Lyrica cries, so excited. Yes, I love that. She thinks, I'll get to see him again. Her mother adds, oh, and Otto will be selecting his new personal guard soon, so you should pick yours when he does. You can pick someone yourself, or you can ask Sir Tan to pick for you. As her mother yawns, Lyrica says, you must be really tired from your meeting. Her mother asks, confused. What meeting? Lyrica replies, I was told you were in a meeting with His Majesty all this time. Her mother says with a sly smile. Oh yes, it was a meeting all right. A very one-sided meeting. Lyrica was confused. Then her mother adds, oh, we wrapped up the meeting on a good note though. Lyrica thinks, Mother must be tired from all that work, but she still wanted to see me. Mother is definitely not like she used to be. Then a maid came with a letter. Your Highness, here is the letter from Lord Fjord. Lyrica notices a flower. They say a crest represents a noble family's ancestors. Does that mean House Barrett's ancestors were flowers? It suits him. Lyrica giggles. It feels like my feet are floating on air, and my heart is swelling up like a cloud. It's like a fluttering feeling. She giggles, tee-hee-hee. Bryn was following her. Lyrica thinks, and right when I feel like flying, I see a banister right before my eyes, and there's no one around. Noticing that, Bryn clears her throat. Since no one is watching, would you like to slide down the rail? Lyrica asks, do you think it'll be alright? Bryn replies, I don't see why not. Lyrica gave in that case. Kaya! She swooshed down the banister. But she soon realizes, this is a lot faster than I thought. The stairs don't end. And there's even a sharp curve? She closes her eyes, and calls her, Mommy! But she plopped onto something. As she opens her eyes, she saw Emperor holding her. He says, you're not supposed to close your eyes at the end. You need to see where you're landing. The Emperor asks Bryn, don't you think that was rather dangerous? She bows, I would have caught Her Highness if your Majesty hadn't caught her first. I didn't know cleaning the banister was part of the princess's duties, the Emperor says, teasing. Lyrica says, I'm sorry. He asks, sorry for what? She says, for sliding down. He teases, you're sorry for cleaning the banister? She was embarrassed, noticing that the Emperor says, oh, I'm not trying to make you tell me what you did wrong. I'm asking because I really don't know why you'd be sorry about something like that. He picks the letter and asks, since you have this, you must have gone to see the Empress. But why House Barat? Lyrica replies, I'd like to invite Fjord Barat as my guest. The Emperor says, sometimes no, very often. I wonder what is going on inside the Empress's head. He handed back the letter. Here. He was all sparkling. Lyrica says, Your Majesty, you must be happy with the results of the meeting. He asks, what meeting? Lyrica says, I thought you had a meeting with Mother. He replies, oh, it was quite satisfactory. Lyrica says, I see. He clears his throat. Did you ask your mother the same thing? She says, Ask her what? He says, you know, about the meeting. Lyrica replies, oh yes. He asks, what did she say? Lyrica told, she said you left things on a good note. He asks, is that all? She begin, well. Suddenly he grabs her and glares. Tell me the truth. Lyrica was taken aback. Nervously she replies, she said it was a one-sided meeting. The Emperor was quite shocked. So did Bryn. He explodes, then frowns, yes, it was one-sided. Bryn thinks, Your Majesty? Oh my, he must be quite shocked. The Emperor is brooding, clutching his head, muttering, one-sided, So that's what she said, then from now on, we'll just have to make sure our meetings satisfy both parties. He laughs darkly, sending chills down the spine. Lyrica and Bryn watch him leave, wobbling and swaying. Lyrica asks, Does His Majesty seem mad to you? Bryn replies matter-of-factly, No, if he was mad, he would have killed one of us, or even both of us. Lyrica exclaims, What? The little princess is lost in thought. Anyway, I don't think I should show this to anyone. Back in her room, a cheerful voice interrupts. You're back. It's Otto, munching on something. Bran greets her politely. Hello, Your Highness. But Lyrica got something else on her mind as she stares at him, thinking. Back in her room, the princess wonders. Why do I feel like a guest in my own room? Where did all my maids go? Otto explains. I didn't want them hanging around, so I kicked them out. Lyrica thinks. Poor Bran. He's doing the work of so many maids. He smiles sweetly. I'm just happy someone sees my plight, Your Highness. The princess, bless her heart, gestures for him to sit. Bran, have a seat. But his sister Bryn shakes her head, telling him not to. Bryn quickly turns. Excuse me, Your Highness. I'll be right back. Bran, pouring tea, says. The maids are going to get an earful. Lyrica asks. Why? Bran explains. They should be waiting on you, but they can't because of the crown prince. The princess says. But Adel has a higher position than me. Bran interjects. Well, that's not exactly true. Adel, still munching, Lyrica says. Then, are you saying he barged into my room and acted like he owned the place when he wasn't supposed to? Adel nods, and suddenly, the princess is getting fiery. Don't you know that you're overstepping? Adel, unfazed, replies innocently. But I thought we were family. The princess stutters. Really? Is that how it works? Adel grabs her and pulls her close. She protests. Your Highness. But Adel just smiles down at her. Call me Adel. Ugh, she says. Adel, you're just like His Highness. Adel, clearly taken aback, says. What? What do you mean I'm like him? I've never noticed a resemblance before. He squeezes her cheeks. She says. I mean how you act, not how you look, he says. But my uncle is clearly a foreigner with desert people blood, he thinks, while he stretches her face. But if you think about it, that might be the one thing I have in common with my uncle. He's an emperor with obscure ancestry. His mother had no connections to the imperial family, so he was considered illegitimate. Then she remembers. Come to think of it, Mother told me to pick a personal guard. Otto gasps and looks at her. She adds, Let's pick one together. Otto cuts her off. No thanks. The princess is shocked. Huh? Do you not need one, Otto? Otto explains. Well, my personal guard of 8 years did try to kill me. But he reaches out and pats the princess' head. She whispers, I'm worried about you. Otto flinches at her words and he remembers his father's word. I'm worried about you, Otto. He says, whoever I pick could end up being someone just like that bastard. Then I could help you choose. She offers. I'll have you know that I have a really good sense of these things. Otto eyes her skeptically. You do? I'm not sure about that. She jumps off the chair, determined. Hey, don't look at me like that. I can tell what you're thinking. It's true. I'm also really good at sensing danger. To be honest, I had a bad feeling right when that bad man appeared. Otto deadpans. Anyone can say that in hindsight. But that's not all, the princess declares. When I was young, there was a kind old lady who gave out cookies to children. All the children loved her, but I thought there was something off about her. So I didn't eat her cookies or go to her house. She pauses dramatically. But my goodness! It turned out that the old lady was a human trafficker. Adel and Bran visibly flinches as she continues. And there was a man I didn't like who was popular with children because he gave them jobs and pocket money. But later, it turned out that he did bad things to children too. Bad things? Adel asks, concerned. She reps on. I'm not sure exactly what he did, but he probably starved or beat them or something. I've never even been cheated out of my wages. Do you know how incredible that is? She says excitedly. And there's more, except for when I ignored the feeling in my gut. I always managed to avoid bad guys. We may not be able to pick the best, but we can avoid the worst. Well, how about it? Don't you think? Just then Otto suddenly picks her up in a hug. She gets confused. Huh? Why you're holding me too tight, Otto? She stutters. He says. Let this count as 1 raspberry. She scoffs. I'll count it as 2. He concedes. Fine, whatever. He thinks to himself. Her body is warm and small like a child should be. Even when she's mad, she's not scary at all. She's cute. She's so tiny and weak, yet she's been through so much. She messes up with her hair. It's been a while since serfdom was abolished from the empire. Officially, that is. The rich realized it was far more efficient to milk tenant farmers who were officially considered free citizens for all their worth. Similarly, slavery was officially abolished, but it was still present in society. The scene shifts to a dark and ominous tone. What if she was sold off as a slave? Back in the present, she asks. So are you really not coming with me to pick a personal guard? Otto replies. I'm coming. The princess cheers. Really? But then he says. Yes, but something just came up, so I'll meet with you later. She is confused as Otto walks away, ordering Bran. Prepare a report on the guards in the capital over the past few years immediately. Get everyone working on it, or else. The princess thinks to herself. Oh, that reminds me. I didn't tell him about Fjord. She recalls a meeting with Fjord. I forgot to mention that I'll be inviting my first outside guest. From His Majesty's reaction, it seemed like I should be discreet about showing this to people. But I still wanted to tell Otto because he's my brother. She sighs. Well, I guess I could always tell him later. Lately, our little protagonist has been spending a lot of time in the library. Why? Because she's determined to spruce up the secret raspberry garden and surprise Otto before returning the key. And to do that, she needs to find a professional gardener, but she should at least learn the basics herself. That's why she's studying. But seedling? Acidity? Topsoil? Girl, I feel you. This is too hard. She groans, completely overwhelmed. I'll try another book, she mutters, and grabs one with a pentagram on it. Huh! She pulls a book from the shelf, but another fell down beside it. Its title is Heart-Pounding Grimoire for Girls. She picks it up and exclaims, a grimoire. She flips through it. How to make a talisman for someone you love. Another page. How to make the person you like appear in your dreams. She whispers. I want to keep this a secret. Kaya. She clutches the book to her chest. I'll just quietly borrow this. I'll bring it back after I'm done. She's so excited that she brought the book to her room. She wonders, but wait, what's a grimoire doing in the Imperial Library anyway? Just then Bryn came and says, Your Highness, about hiring a gardener for the secret garden. She quickly hides the grimoire and follows her. Bryn says, I will select a few discreet candidates, and then you can pick the one you like best. Lyrica's heart raced as she looks back towards the book. Later that night her heart is racing. She buries her face back in the grimoire. No, I just read that one. She flips through the pages. How to make a talisman for someone you love, and save that person from danger. This is it, she decides. I'll make a talisman for Otto. But, she settles down on her bed, and reads on. A glass bottle, clean pond water, a white handkerchief, and a gold coin. Her eyes widen. I've never even seen one in real life. How on earth is she going to get a gold coin? I don't want to get paid for working in the Emperor's study. I'm doing that for my own enjoyment. Then it hits her. Oh right, there's Yuba. She clasps her hands together, eyes sparkling. Please help Yuba get back safely. Please protect him from danger and make sure nothing bad happens to him. May he return healthy with many nice things. Also, please let me find a gold coin. Later the Emperor says, buy something tasty with this. He holds out a gold coin. Her eyes widen. He stares at her. You're tired, aren't you? That's because you're not eating enough. But she protests. But I had 2 whole sausages for breakfast. Tan and Lat grins. The Emperor replies, no wonder you're nothing but bones, she says, but he rattles his drawer and pulls out another fistful of treasures. Buy something good to eat. She wonders, why is your drawer filled with treasures? She remembers Bryn's word. Dragons like to collect treasures and pile them up. He shoves them into her little purse. She exclaims, Your Majesty, you'll break my purse. He pats her head. He examines her purse. That was saying, please kill me. She giggles. His hands are much softer than before. She's blushing so hard. The Emperor smiles. Go on, he says with a sly smile. She replies, Yes, Your Majesty. She thinks, it may be a bit clumsy, but it's clearly an expression of love. She skips away, clutching her purse. They really are similar. Now I have gold coins, emeralds, diamonds, and sapphires. She picks up a green emerald. This emerald is green as a summer garden. She holds up a sapphire. This sapphire is just like the color of Otto's eyes. Then a pumpkin-colored one. Then she remembers Fjord's face. She covers her face, completely flustered. Then, something catches her eye on the table. What is this? Her maid answers. It's a pearl, Your Highness, and it looks like it's very high quality. She picks it up and examines it. Wow, it's so pretty. She gazes at her treasures. With this, I have all the treasures I need. She claps her hands. Now I'll read the book and start making the talisman. She rummages under her pillow. Her eyes widen in horror. The grimoire I left under my pillow is gone? Bryn approaches, holding the book. Your Highness, are you looking for this? She stammers. That's. Bryn smiles slyly, holding up the grimoire, now with a new cover. The cover title was too obvious, so after putting a new cover on it, I was going to return this book entitled. Lyrica hugs her tightly. Bryn exclaims, Oh my goodness, Your Highness. Closing her eyes, Bryn wonders. How exactly did you get your hands on that book? She thinks. A heart-pounding grimoire for girls was popular among young noble ladies a few years back. Flower readings, name compatibility, mostly cute, childish games, but Bryn is shocked. How did little Lyrica even get her hands on such a book? Since everyone knows about it, having a copy is like telling the world you have a crush on someone. Bryn promises to take the secret to her grave, but wonders if the princess is too young to have a crush. She thinks, but our princess is truly one of a kind. She is mature for her age, so she may even have a crush on someone much older. Could it be the captain of the Imperial Guard? Or the Chancellor? I'm sure it wouldn't be some pup like Sandar or Bran. Bryn offers it would be hard for you to learn the incantations by yourself, so I'll help you. Which one would you like to try? Lyrica replies, I was going to make a talisman. She whispers, I was worried about how to get a gold coin, but I'm glad His Majesty gave me a bunch. I'm gonna make one for Otto, one for His Majesty, and one for you too, Bryn. Bryn wonders, Your Highness, do you think this is a real grimoire? Still, she thinks, that's so cute, she says to herself. Then again, our princess is too young to know about romance. I'll help you with everything, Bryn tells her, and Rika responds, Thank you, Bryn. Bryn believes she's at the age when she should be receiving plenty of love, not giving it. Later a letter arrived. Lyrica looks at it. This beautiful handwriting is just like him. The response from House Barat says that Fjord would be free to visit the palace at any time, even if that means the next day. Bryn says, So in that case, we should hurry and get Your Highness a personal guard. Rika thinks, I don't think he'd throw an imperial tantrum in front of an imperial palace, family member in the palace, but he is still Barat after all. Bryn follows up, We can't have you seeing outside visitors without a personal guard. Rika concedes, I guess you're right. Later Otto looks at Rika and asks, So, you want me to go with you to the Imperial Guard quarters to get us both personal guards? Rika replies, You guessed it. I said I'd pick one for you, remember? Otto eyes the other two who were looking completely exhausted. She says, But maybe we should go some other day. You all look a bit exhausted. Pi replies that may be a good idea. Then he adds, I don't know what got into him, but he suddenly wanted to see all the records of disturbances to public safety, so we've been up for days. Otto quickly punches him, making him shut, and says, That's nonsense. Bran pats Pi. Otto then says to Rika, All right, fine. Let's go. Rika is so happy. He. They walk down the hall, Otto in front. He asks, Hey, why are you walking behind me? What are you, a maid? Rika is flustered as she says, Huh! Hey Otto, you're just too fast. Otto responds, No, you're just too slow. Otto asks Rika, Do you know how to ride a horse? Rika replies, No. She thinks, Not only have I never ridden a horse, but I haven't even seen anyone else riding one, but I have seen horse-drawn carriages. Rika continues in her thoughts, I heard you can see people riding in parks, but I never had time to go to any. Otto tells her, You really should learn how to ride, you know. He touzles her hair. Then, he says, But for now, I think this should do. He lifts Rika into his arms. Ugh, not again, she mutters. Pi looks at them concerned. At the Imperial Guard quarters, a guard says, My apologies, Your Highnesses. The captain hasn't returned from the Imperial study yet. He's still working. Otto says, I guess we won't be able to find any personal guards for us today. Tan isn't here, so how about we come back next time? Rika whines. I wanna wait. Determined, she thinks. If we don't do this now, Otto could change his mind later. Otto says, Suit yourself. Rika looks at the surrounding and observes. So this is what the Imperial Guard's weapons look like. Just then someone came. She looked up. Huh! Sir Lauv? She says. It's been a while. He flinches at first, then bows. Greetings, Your Highness? Rika asks. Did Tan give you my message? Lauv asks. I beg your pardon? She thinks back to when she said some harsh things to Lauv. Lauv replies, Oh, yes, he did. Rika follows up. That's good. Rika asks Lauv, Why aren't you in your uniform? Are you on holiday? Lauv pauses, looking down, and replies, No. Suddenly, Rika is overwhelmed with a strange sensation. Her mind beeped like sensing danger. Huh! Lauv says, I am to return to my hometown. Her mind kept beeping. The sensation lingers. Lauv stands over her. Huh! What's happening right now? She wonders. Lauv is leaving? Remembering the incident with Ruan, she thinks. It feels just like it did back then. But nothing has happened since. Everything has been fine up till now, right? Looking at Lauv, she thinks. Huh! What's going on? What should I do? Bryn asks. Your Highness? She was gasping. Rika thinks frantically. Should I? Just then Otto grabs her and asks. What's wrong? Is something the matter? What did this bastard say to you? He grabs Rika protectively. Lyrica replies. And no, it's not like that. The little miss is gasping. Ha! But she steels herself. I'll be fine. Otto is standing behind me. Yes, it's all right. But Otto is clearly not okay. Just then beeping slowed down. Oh, she realizes. Maybe Lauv going back to his hometown is the problem. So, if that's the case, she thinks frantically. Lauv! Can't he just stay and not go back to his hometown? She cries desperately. Lauv, will you be my personal guard? Gee. Lauv is taken aback. Otto questions. What? His expression softens as he looks down at her. He asks, do you really mean that? She nods, determined. Yes. But if you don't want to, I can't force you. She sighs, realizing. The warning siren is fading. Stopping him from leaving really was the answer. Lauv replies. But sadly, I am no longer a knight. She's not giving up, she asks. Can I just hire you even if you're not? She shakes him excitedly. I don't know if I'll be able to pay you a lot of money, but… Otto's had enough. Hey, why would you want to hire someone like him? He turns to Lauv. You're a wolf, aren't you? If you were on your way home, you were probably just… unqualified. Lauv looks away, but Otto is relentless. Am I right? You shameless bastard! Unqualified? The little girl wonders. What does that mean? Wait, let go, Otto. That's not the point right now. She yells. Otto tries to reason with her. Stay still. You just don't know what you're talking about. But she won't hear it. Otto, you stay out of this. Hiya! She shoves Otto away. He is so shocked and blushing. She declares. I don't care if he's not a knight. If he'll let me pay him, I want to hire him. She offers. I'll pay you 1 pearl. What do you say? She remembered the words. This pearl is very high quality, and it's incredibly valuable. It is a very rare object that would cost as much as the seller asks, so that should be enough for him, right? She thinks. Humph, and I'm using my own allowance anyway. Lauv is taken aback by her earnestness. I guess you really do mean it. She's clinging to Otto. He says. Would you just… just get off of me. You're scraping against my buttons. She glances up at him. Lauv looks down at her face, and finally says, I'll do it. And just like that, the ominous feeling vanishes. She realizes, oh, the warning sirens completely stopped. That ominous feeling is gone. And suddenly, she feels stronger. Lauv kneels in front of her. She gets confused. Otto clicks his tongue and raises her hand with his. Lauv grabs her hand and kisses it. She exclaims, Wow. Lauv promises, I'll do my best to serve you. She thinks, this is the first time I did something to change that feeling of danger I get. I had no idea I could change it this whole time. I don't have to run away anymore. I felt so much stronger now. Just then someone knocks at the door. It's Tan, he asks. Can somebody please explain what's going on here? After they told him, he says, So, Lauv will be serving you, Your Highness? She confirms happily. He contemplates the situation. Well then, does that mean I only have to show His Highness candidates for his personal guard now? Otto confirms. Yes, she'll choose someone. And then she adds with confidence. I have a great sense for these things, you know. He seems skeptical. The candidates arrive, lined up perfectly. She took a focused look at them. Then she whispers to Otto, and he points out the candidates. Tan gets quite shocked at her choice. Otto leans in conspiratorially. If you like both, we can hire both. They can always work in shifts. After that he left saying, I'm pretty busy, so if we're done here, I'll go now. He took Pi and Bran with himself. Then Tan asks her, Did that sense of yours tell you to disqualify 3 out of the 5 applicants? She replies, Well, I didn't think they were bad people. They just weren't that impressive, she says internally, and I didn't hear any warning sirens like I heard with Lauv. Tan sits in front of her and asks, Did you know that Lauv was supposed to leave the Imperial Guard today? Did he impress you that much? Her immediate answer is a flat no. Little Lyrica adds, I had a really bad feeling at first. I felt my back clam up out of fear, but that was because he said he was going to his hometown, and I felt better once I hired him. Lyrica asks Tan. But Tan, you're from the same hometown as Lauv, right? Did something happen there? Tan thinks for a moment. No, I'm sure the wolf territory is fine, but… Tan rises up from his place and kneels in front of her. Lyrica gasps, covering her mouth with her hands. Tan says, I never expected to be leaving your highness in that boy's care. Please let me know if anything happens. I'll support everything you do, and from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you for hiring Lauv, your highness. Lyrica is confused. Huh! That's quite all right, Tan. Quickly Bryn chimes in. Are you really going to support her highness's choice, Captain? Tan, with a serious look, replies, Of course. The maid is so surprised. She says, We look forward to your cooperation, then. She thinks, it's so rare for the captain of the Imperial Guard to give his full support to anyone like this. She muses. The way Her Highness effortlessly attracts these kinds of allies is truly astounding. Later, Adel's companion confronts him. Your Highness, why do you talk to the princess in that manner? Adel asks. What manner? Pai asks. Why do you say things that could hurt her? He is flustered. What? When did I do that? Pai presses. You do it every day, right, Bran? Bran nods. Pai adds, even earlier you asked her why she was trailing behind you like a servant, and why she couldn't even ride a horse. Adel seems genuinely shocked. Did I? It's true, he cries, blushing. Pai replies, I wouldn't be saying this if you had said those hurtful things on purpose. I mean, you lose sleep over little things Her Highness says even now. What if Her Highness talked to you like that, Your Highness? He imagines Lyrica asking, Why are you walking ahead of me like you're my master? He clutches his chest. Gah, Adel asks. Do you think she felt hurt? Pai replies, Her Highness may have let it go because she's so gracious. But if you keep doing that, I think you could really end up hurting her someday. You should be careful from now on. He covers his face, mortified. I'll try. Pai gets closer. If it's really bothering you, why don't you give her a gift? Meanwhile, Lyrica and her entourage are walking down the hall where Lauv was waiting for them. She stepped forward, offering her hand towards Lauv. Adel asks, A gift? Pai reminds him. Didn't you receive another gift recently? I'm talking about the halflinger with the pretty, cream-colored mane. How about giving her that small pony? Her Highness is still small, so it might be nice for her to ride it around the Sun Palace. Taking his hand, Lyrica happily says, Did you know? I have a guest coming tomorrow. It will be my first time inviting an outside guest for tea. Lauv replies, I see. She tells him, That's why I had to get a personal guard so quickly. Adel agrees. Fine. I think she'd like that pony. Lyrica smiles brightly. I hope the weather is nice tomorrow, so we can have a wonderful time. The next day, Lord Fjord of House Barat arrives. He greets. Fjord of House Barat is honored to meet you, Princess Lyrica Nara Talker. Lyrica, flustered, feels her face flush. She's blushing, and Fjord kisses her hand. Lyrica's ladies-in-waiting all gasp at the sight. She's totally swooning. Everyone around her is losing it too. Finally, the day to receive her long-awaited outside guest has come, and it's none other than Lord Fjord of House Barat. He'll be teaching Princess Lyrica how to curtsy. To prepare for this day, they exchanged letters, assigned a personal guard with haste, and made sure everything was perfect. Her maids are blushing. He's so incredibly beautiful. And he's even in formal attire now and not disheveled like he was before. Lyrica asks, You didn't curtsy today. Fjord looks at her and rises. Today is a formal occasion after all. I didn't expect you to really invite me. She replies, Thank you for accepting my invitation. As they greet each other, Fjord looks at her guard. Is your personal guard not an imperial knight, Your Highness? Lyrica shakes her head. He isn't. He azes. This could stir up some rumors. Lyrica gets confused. Huh? Fjord adds. People might question why Princess Lyrica couldn't choose a personal guard from the Imperial Knights, and they'll assume you're being mistreated for being a stepdaughter. He leans in closer to her, saying that. The words hang heavy in the air as Lyrica looks up at him. Her bright eyes widen in childlike wonder. But they'll still think I'm a talker, right? She asks, her small hand reaching out. She thinks, a contract princess is still a princess. I'm a talker. Fjord observes her with a soft gaze. You're absolutely right. Tea and cakes are set out, all elegant and golden in the light. At the table he muses. I suppose the sound of a buzzing mosquito wouldn't faze a dragon, but Lyrica counters. No, I'm sure even dragons would find mosquitoes annoying. She even imagines a cute little dragon getting buzzed. I guess you're right, Fjord concedes. Lyrica continues. And I may not know much about the issues related to the imperial family, but I'm sure His Majesty would take care of things for me. Fjord's expression hardens. Your Highness, you are quite naive. A talker saying such a thing to a Barat is unheard of. If Duke Barat heard what Your Highness just said, he would rip you to shreds. Your Highness. He starts again, his voice softer. You don't have a confidant yet, do you? Lyrica asks innocently. A confidant? Does Bryn count? He points out. She is a servant, he azes. As a member of the imperial family, you need a confidant to inform you of the latest news about high society, including conflicts between noble families. He or she could be a child around your age from a noble family. Lyrica thinks about it. Aha! Is that what Pi is to Otto? She replies. I guess I don't have one. I knew it, he says. Then I assume you don't know the rumors about your mother, the Empress Sither. What? Lyrica is visibly shocked. Did she get detained after causing a disturbance from drinking too much again? There she goes again. She just couldn't kick her habit. He quickly reassures her. No, it's nothing like that. For example, this Castella sponge cake has been popularized as a trendy dessert by the Empress. This? Lyrica is surprised. He continues. And besides this, all the desserts that come from Her Majesty's salon have been sensations for their understated yet sophisticated sweetness and how they perfectly pair with tea. Even our chef has been trying hard to recreate Her Majesty's cookie recipe. Lyrica wonders. Really? Fjord sips his tea. And that's not all. I heard that people have been ordering the bustle dress that she wore at her wedding at all the boutiques in the capital. I think you have to wait a year to get one, even if you order them now. Oh, she also put a conceited Marchioness right in her place. Apparently, everyone found it satisfying. But the most remarkable thing Her Majesty did recently was calm down a mare that suddenly started bucking while the daughter of Baron Aaron was riding it. If Her Majesty hadn't been there, the situation could have been quite dangerous. I heard the lady's fiancé thanked Her Majesty profusely. Lyrica's eyes widen. Are all these stories really about Mother? My mother did all that, she wonders. Mother is clearly still beautiful, and she's become surprisingly sweeter, but she's still Mother. I always had to take care of her. Fjord's face is beaming as he proposes, so how about me? As your confidant? Lyrica is taken aback. Huh! He smiles brightly. Lyrica wonders. Oh, is he joking? He adds. After speaking with you for a bit, I can tell you don't have a confidant yet. Lyrica asks. Really? He replies. Yes, these are usually the kind of things you talk about with a confidant. And usually it's a confidant's job to mediate between noble families or carry out other tasks. In any case, there are many reasons someone in a position of power would need a confidant. Lyrica realizes. Oh, I see, she replies. Then maybe I'm not in a position of power yet. Do you think I haven't had any offers like that because I'm new to this position? He nearly spits out his tea. That's nonsense, he thinks. She's the only one who doesn't realize this. But there's another new person in the capital everyone is talking about, and that's Princess Lyrica. But I don't think she has any idea. Lyrica is dazed. A confidant, huh? In the slums, I was too busy working to make any friends. I wonder what noble friends do when they get together. I really like Bryn, but she is my lady-in-waiting, so I can't play with her like I would with a friend. I guess once I become a great princess, people will start asking to be my confidant, right? Lyrica turns to him. Then, can you teach me how to curtsy now? Determined, she thinks, that'll be my first step to becoming a great princess. As he performs, Lyrica asks, clapping her hands. Wow, how can you curtsy like that? He asks. What do you think about when you curtsy, Your Highness? Lyrica responds. Well, I'd bend my knees by about this much and set the angle. Would it be more graceful if I did it a little slower? No. Let's put those trivial thoughts aside for now, he says, pointing a finger. You have to think that you are the most beautiful person in the world. Lyrica gets shocked. What? Meanwhile, someone is approaching. Pi asks Otto. Are you sure you want to barge into the princess's room without warning? Otto steps forward. When have I ever told her I was coming to see her? Pi gets anxious, but still. Otto adds. You're the one that told me to get her a gift, so I should surprise her. He chuckles. Pi says, "Weren't you going to apologize for speaking too bluntly? It seems like you're putting the cart in front of the horse," Bran says to Pi. "Just give it up. His Highness has always been headstrong." Otto smiles. "I bet she'll really like it." Meanwhile, Lyrica thinks, "The most beautiful person in the world? But you really are. Well, you'd come after mother." Fjord coaches little Lyrica on how to speak about her own beauty. "Yes, now repeat after me. I am the most beautiful person in the world." Little Lyrica mumbles, "I am the most beautiful person in the world." Fjord sighs. "It sounds like you don't believe what you're saying at all." She replies, "That's because it's not true." Lyrica looks up, thinking to herself, "I'm not a beautiful blonde like my mother." Fjord kneels, lifting her hand. "Your Highness, you are gorgeous. Your auburn hair looks like the hair of forest fairies, and your eyes are like Lake Rudin glistening in the sunlight." He smiles sweetly. "So you should have more confidence." Lyrica flinches. "Now let's try that one more time," Fjord says with determination. He clenches a fist. "I am the most beautiful person in the world." Lyrica tries again, defeated. "I am the most beautiful person in the world." Cue Rockstar Fjord on stage, belting out, "I am the most beautiful person in the world," while Lyrica looks on in the shadows. Lyrica internally screams, "Is this a new method of torture? I never thought I'd be saying this in front of someone who's prettier than me." Fjord claps. "All right, now let's try that again." Lyrica is stiff, rigid, and uncomfortable. He observes, "But you know, Your Highness, there aren't that many people you can curtsy to. So why do you want to learn?" Lyrica replies, "Well, I want to do it properly for the select few I can curtsy to." She imagines her mother saying, "Lyrica, oh my goodness! Look how graceful you are!" The Emperor, "That's quite impressive." Adil, now that's much better." Fjord says, "I'm sure they already think you're beautiful, Your Highness, so—" Lyrica interrupts, "Oh, that's it. I'll say something other than beautiful." Lyrica stumbles. I am the cutest and loveliest person in the world," she thinks. "It's still embarrassing to say, but here I go. Oh, Lyrica, my adorable Lyrica, you are the loveliest girl in the world. I love you, Lyrica. It's what my mother has told me every day. I think I could say this, at least." Lyrica repeats, "I am cute. I am cute. I am cute." "Yes," Lyrica declares, and then she curtsy. Fjord watches with a small pft. Lyrica asks, "Was something strange?" Fjord replies, "No, it's not that. You just looked like a robin." Lyrica tilts her head. "A robin?" Fjord smiles, reaching out to touch her ribbon. "Yes. You looked like a lovely robin princess." He smiles at her. Lyrica praises, "Fjord, you look like the work of a craftsman." Fjord smiles softly. "I would love nothing more than to be your confidant, Your Highness." Just then Bryn approaches. "Hello, you two. You must be quite exhausted, so have some cold juice." She sets down a tray with 2 glasses of red juice. Meanwhile, Otto and his companions also reached outside her chambers. The servant stammers, "Your Highness." Otto gestures him to keep quiet. He says, "Sure, you don't have to tell her I'm here." While drinking, Fjord says, "It's delicious." Lyrica replies, "It's raspberry juice." Outside, the servant urges Otto, "But Your Highness." But he opens the door. "Rika!" Otto bursts into the room. "I'm sorry about yester," but he sees Fjord and gets shocked. Lyrica exclaims, "Huh! Adil!" His face hardens. He glares intensely. Lyrica walks towards him. Fjord watches him carefully. Fjord grins and places down his glass of juice. He bows, "I'm Fjord Barat. It is an honor to meet you, Yor." In a flash, Otto grabs Fjord's collar. The glass goes flying. Lyrica gets shocked. The juice and glass shatter. "You bastard, what the hell are you doing here?" Otto snarls, grabbing Fjord by the collar. Otto's fist flies, eyes blazing with fury. Lyrica shouts, "Otto!" Fjord says, "I was invited." Otto is floored. "Invited?" Lyrica steps in, trying to stop him. "Yes, I invited him, so—" But before she can finish, Otto lashes out. "Ha! How dare you try to beguile my little sister? Did you try to use your good looks and your wily tongue to win her over?" Pi and Bran were also shocked, standing there. Fjord is unbothered. "Her Highness was the one who asked to see me first." Before anyone can react, Otto throws a punch. Fjord goes down. Then, title card. Mother's Contract Marriage, Episode 42. Lyrica watches in horror as Otto attacks Fjord. She was running to stop him, but Lauv grabs her. Your Highness, you mustn't step in, Lyrica whispers. Lauv, Otto beat down Fjord. He is seething. Get lost, you Barat masterpiece. Get lost before I start wanting to see if that rumor is really true. Fjord glares. Ha! Is that right? His eyes narrow. I too am curious about. Suddenly, the room begins to shake. Clunk! Rattle! Clank! Everyone panics. The room is shaking. Lyrica wonders. Is this an earthquake? She realizes. Oh no! It's not the floor that's shaking. The objects are reacting to something. Her eyes widen. Fjord is on his knees now, but his eyes are glowing. Otto clenches his fists. You bastard! He lunges at Fjord again, but Lyrica throws herself between them. No! I don't know what this is about, but stop it! She yells. Stop! He's my guest! Otto and Fjord freeze. If you don't stop being rude right now, she cries, I'll never forgive you! He's my guest, she whines. And I invited him. Otto is furious, but Lyrica stands her ground. She trembles. So I'm responsible for Fjord's safety. Otto, please! Just leave us! Otto is seething. What? Hey, do you know what kind of guy this bastard? Prince Otto. Bryn interrupts, trying to calm him down. This is the White Dragon Chamber where Her Highness resides, she explains. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I couldn't stand by and watch you act so disrespectfully toward Her Highness. Otto is finally silent, but his anger is palpable. If you like him that much, do what you want. He turns and storms out. Pi and Bran also follows him. The doors slam shut behind him. Lyrica staggers. Bryn reaches out to her for support. Your Highness! That was scary, she whispers. I didn't think Otto would throw a punch like that. Her hands tremble, her legs shaking. She clenches her jaw, her lip trembling. She turns to Fjord. Are you all right? I'll call for the Imperial doctor immediately. This is nothing, Your Highness, Fjord insists. You don't need to call a doctor. More importantly, are you all right? Fjord wipes the blood from his lip, a drop falling onto his pristine collar. I'm afraid I've caused a rift between you and the Crown Prince. He shrugs. He must have been one of the people you wanted to show your courtesy to. But Fjord is smiling. Lyrica thinks Otto called him a Barat masterpiece. Fjord is like the work of a master craftsman. It's like he's saying that what's broken can always be mended, when he smiles like that. A little disagreement isn't enough to cause a rift between us, she says calmly. Besides, Otto is clearly in the wrong because you are my guest. Also, your injury isn't nothing. Fjord insists. It's all right. It's not all right, Lyrica retorts, stepping closer. She grabs her hand and started walking. Have a seat, she says, leading him to sofa. If you don't want to see a doctor, then let me put some ointment on you. He was taken aback. Well, this is refreshing. She's getting worked up over nothing, he says. I'm really all right, Your Highness, he says internally. But I don't want to say that out loud. Then he adds, I've had injuries far worse than this while sparring. She shakes her head. Sparring is different. Getting hit is painful and scary. She thinks, in the past, to protect the one I love, all I could do was pray to the stars. But that's changed now. I am the master of the White Dragon Chamber. She clenches her fist. I should take responsibility for the power I have, so whatever happens to my guest is my fault. She says, I won't let you leave like this, Fjord. You may think it's all right, but I don't. She stares directly into his eyes. Our adorable little princess with rosy cheeks, lost in thought, wiping his blood. But it's Fjord thinks. You know what? In my world, a scar like this is nothing. He thinks the heir of House Barat is trained to swallow any kind of pain. That is why the forest inside the Imperial Palace is the only place where he can find respite from his Barat roots. And that's when she came flying in with her heavy yet splendid parasol. The girl everyone thinks is a villain. You're a commoner from the slums, with faint noble roots, but no one knows where you came from. But you mesmerized the violent tyrant, which is something only a villainess can do. The tyrant's wife is a villainess, and that makes her daughter a villainess. I knew I'd been surrounded by nothing but lies. When I was young, I believed all of them. After all, children know nothing but the words of their parents. The vision of a woman with a black lace blindfold, holding a potion bottle, says, drink up. Fjord was lying down on floor, agonizing in pain. That's why I really thought that all my pain was his fault, his mother says. Open your eyes. The Crown Prince is the cause of all your pain. That bastard's name is Otto Sautalker. I thought he was the reason I was in so much pain, and why my father passed away. I hated him so much. But then, on the day of the Crown Prince's party, his 10th birthday, I saw him for the first time. Her mother's voice cuts through. That is your enemy, he recalls, and all I could do was laugh. But I couldn't really laugh because I was too scared of my mother. He was just a child. His eyes were full of deep fear, and his whole body shook with hatred. He was glaring at me like he was looking into a mirror and saw a boy. That's when I realized that he wasn't the one that was causing me pain. Then who was? It was something else. He looks up at his mother's face. We see the mother's face again, but now distorted and menacing. To become a talker and be the very best, you tried desperately to combine House Barat with the direct descendants of House Talker who you so despised. So how happy were you when you finally gave birth to a son with powers? You thought it was time for House Barat to become the best, didn't you? Yes, congratulations. Your child is the masterpiece that House Barat has wanted for hundreds of years. But later her mother whacked him, saying, We have been pressuring the emperor to choose an empress from our family, yet he gave the title of empress and princess to those commoners. How dare he give the talker name to such vermin? Fjord thinks. When that masterpiece finally breaks, Mother, what kind of expression will you have on your face? So, little princess, I'm sure you don't know this, but I put so much hope in you, because my mother has never hated anyone as much as she despises you. How dare those miscreants? They say an enemy of an enemy is a friend, right? I was excited to see how formidable you were. He imagines him asking Lyrica, Your Highness, how cruel are you? She replies menacingly, I'm cruel enough to put 50 grams of arsenic in your shot glass and give you 2 shots the next time. Fjord replies, How marvelous! You are my dream girl. Please marry me. But when I met you in person, you weren't exactly what I was expecting. Oh, Mother has fooled me once again. At that time Fjord thought, there is something intriguing about her. It might be good to get to know her a little. Now he thinks, but I'm starting to think my decision to do this was a mistake. Back to present he thinks, Your eyes in front of mine were so pure and transparent that their warmth made my fingertips tingle. Lyrica puts a bandage on his wound. All done. Fjord looks at her expectantly. She asks, Did that hurt? He opens his mouth to check. Fjord thinks, It's all right. Back at our manor, no one cares if I get punched in the face a few times, so I'm used to it. Well, he stumbles, dizzy. That's what I was about to say, but what's happening? I feel strange. The princess asks, Are you all right? Looking at her he thinks, What is this? It's so strange. Something is incredibly sweet. He grabs her hand, stopping her. Internally he says, Don't come any closer. Don't touch me. Fjord looks at her, troubled. You're going to make me feel even stranger. Fjord is sweating. My fingers feel numb, and my head is getting hot. He struggles to speak. Something is. My mind is going blank. After his clash with Otto, Fjord is left with a smile. Well, I'll take my leave. Peace be with you, little Robin princess. Lyrica wonders, but why does Otto hate Fjord so much? His reaction felt like he doesn't want me to see Fjord ever again. That bothers her, and she can't stop thinking about it. Remembering Fjord's face, she wonders, what was that look on his face? Later she asks him, Otto, why do you hate Fjord so much? Otto's clearly annoyed. Rika, I was about to apologize for that. He stretches her cheeks, annoyed. Otto replies, If I die, that Fjord bastard will take the emperor's throne. She was taken aback. What? Otto, please don't die. But Otto retorts, I'm not going to. He continues explaining that Fjord's father was his late uncle. After me, he holds the highest position in the imperial family. For generations, House Barat has only been a part of the imperial family by marriage. So in terms of legitimacy, he has more claim to the throne than I do because my mother was barely a noble. This is so frustrating. But Pai disputes this. But that's not true. Otto asks, What? Pai replies, I mean, the next in line to the throne after your highness is Princess Lyrica. Everyone is stunned. Lyrica asks, What? You just have to be a talker? But I don't even have that power thing. The boy continues, It would be ideal if you had that power and were a talker, but the most important thing is your surname. Otto realizes. Wait a second, is that how it works now? She cheered up and announces, Then that means I'm second in line. Pai laughs. Just then a servant informed, "Your Highness." Otto says, "Oh, it's here." He presents a pony. "Here, this is my apology gift." Rika exclaims, "What?" Otto says, "It's yours." Rika is speechless. It is. So that's why he told me to dress in riding attire," he says. "I'm sorry about yesterday. I shouldn't have been so rude to your guest." Rika smiles brightly. "I already forgave you, but thank you for apologizing." Otto stands stiffly beside her. She giggles, then Pai asks, "What will you name it?" Rika, beaming, introduces her new pony. "Morning Star, because there's a star on its forehead," Pai says. "Morning Star? What a great name! It sounds like the name of the century." Otto says, "You should take it for a ride." Rika is nervous. But I've never ridden a horse before." Otto scoops her up and places her on the pony. "All you have to do is this. You'll get the hang of it." He slaps the pony and the pony immediately bolts, and Rika screams. Lauv and Bryn follows her. One of the boys remarks, "Speaking of the Barats, I just thought of something, Your Highness. We may have just realized that Fjord Barat has been pushed down in the line of succession thanks to Princess Lyrica, but the Barats would have already known this. They are serious about the throne, after all. So I thought the only way for a Barat to take the throne would be to get rid of the princess. But now that I think about it again, Fjord could also marry H." Otto cuts him off. "Gah! I was just saying that Duke Barat could be planning something. It was hypothetical." Otto replies, "You're being delusional. They would never even dream of tainting the Barat bloodline." Pai asks, "But you do agree that it would be a politically effective move, right?" Rika is riding the pony. Lauv says, "Keep your back straight." Rika asks, "Can I go faster?" "You know, Lauv," Rika begins, "about yesterday, why did you hold me back when I was trying to stop those two from fighting?" Lauv responds, "I thought it could have been dangerous. I only found out that they would have listened to you after the fact. But if you had tried to stop them from the start, His Highness would have gotten more angry." She asks, "Why?" He replies, "His Highness is very fond of you and thinks that you are on his side, so he wouldn't have been able to stand seeing you take the side of someone he hates." But after exchanging a few blows, I'm sure they both came to their senses. "So that's why I think it was better to intervene at that point," she says. "But the fight broke out in the White Dragon Chamber, so I should have handled it from the start." "What in the world could I have done?" Lauv says. "In cases like that you could use me, Your Highness. If you had told me to handle the situation, I would have done what was necessary." She questions, "But you're my personal guard. Am I allowed to ask you to do that?" Lauv pauses, then declares, I don't just want to be Your Highness's shield. I want to be your sword as well. May I do that?" Rika thinks. An adult has never spoken to me with such caution before. Everyone usually speaks to me however they want because I'm still a child. That includes these people. What? But Lauv is always so careful around me. Maybe that's because I'm not comfortable with Lauv yet. In fact, I only have him with me to help me give off a more sinister aura. And I don't think of him as a close aide like Bryn. Is he being careful because he knows that I feel this way? Then she says, "Lauv, let's stop here for a moment." Rika pats Lauv on the head. "I'm sorry, Lauv." "All right. You did your best, Lauv," she thinks. She's trying to act like the Emperor. She announces, "I will use you as my shield and sword from now on. Whenever I'm in trouble, I will call for you, so be sure to come and help me." Lauv, looking touched, bows. She thinks, "Maybe a great princess isn't someone who does everything by herself." He replies, "My strength is yours, Your Highness." She thinks, "If I trust and rely on the precious people in my life to make wiser decisions and get better ideas, maybe I could also become a great princess someday." The group waves goodbye. "See you later, Your Highness." Later a servant informed Lyrica, "The Empress has arrived." Rika's eyes widen. "Mother is here?" She runs to greet her. "Mother!" The Empress calls out, "Lyrica!" and embraces her daughter. Then she glares at Lauv. "I came as soon as I heard Lyrica's personal guard was finally chosen, but it's him." She glares at Lauv. "How dare someone like him stand next to my daughter? In my past life he was..." The flashback is dark and distorted. The Empress clenches her jaw. Then says, "Rika, I came to talk to you about something, so let's sit for a moment. About your new personal guard. I'd like to replace him with someone I'd prefer. Would you mind if I did that?"